to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe to toe with me on that?
Like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs 5. You might think it's the Spurs 3, but it isn't. We've got two guests in the background. We're going to play a little bit of doorbell in a second. I hope you guys are all happy and healthy, doing the things you love on Thursday, November 13th. It is international night as well. Boring international breaks. We're halfway through almost, and so hopefully we can keep you guys company for the next couple of hours and take away the boredom of the break. Guys, as you are normally, take your shoes off, do the usual administrative things that we ask you to do. Smash the like button. It's very simple. Drum the thumb, people. Hit the subscribe button. If you are watching this and you're not subscribed and you want to participate in the chat, all you've got to do is rub the sub and it should open up. If it doesn't, just refresh the page and it will open up for you. Hit the notification bell. They should be squeezed. That bell should be squeezed. And also drop your comments. Keep them fresh and keep them coming. We are also always available straight after the show on the podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify and all that jazz. So if you are into that sort of thing, then please check us out over there. Stel, quickly before I bring the boys in, maybe girls. Stel, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Bit bored with the football. I'm not really too bothered about international break, but maybe we just need a bit of break from Spurs just for a little bit. So, yeah, good. Smash like, subscribe. Good to see everyone in the chat. Let's rock and roll.
Good to see you. Lubo, how are you, mate? I haven't seen you for a couple of hours. You all right?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, all good. All
good,
thanks. Yep.
Good. Look, we're going to bring in the first guest right now. I haven't quite made my guest selector wheel thing yet, but that's coming in a week or I'll be here before the end of the international break. So right now we do it the doorbell way. Who could it be, guys? Who could it be? Oh, straight off the pitch. He's just put his yellow card away, and he's maybe going to bring out a red card tonight when someone, either Stel or our other guest, says something when they get themselves into a ding-dong over the cooking. Let's bring in and welcome to the show, Chrissy boy. Chris CC, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
I am good, mate. I'm not too bad. Yeah, I have absolutely come prepared. So, yeah, I'm not standing for any nonsense. Yellow, red cards as needed, mate. But, yeah, good. What is that, Lou? That's not a card, is it? It's just a bit of yellow.
It's a chamois. It's a chamois fabric.
It's a piece of red. It's a piece of red fabric.
Right. Okay.
It's his Arsenal kit.
No, I don't normally have red in the house, but I sold some red fabric last year, and I've got to keep it for reference. So it does come in as a red card as well sometimes.
Yeah,
only when you're on. Only when you're on, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, no, thanks for asking me on. I appreciate it. Not like there's anything else to do tonight apart from watching blooming England play, right? So,
no, exactly. We'll keep an eye on that game as well. And listen, I'm not going to do the doorbell game for the next guest. What I am going to do, I'm going to give Stel a little like a bunk up here. That sounded weird. A little opportunity to get in a quick dig, because these two have been going at each other for his predictions and their predictions on the WhatsApp group. And so rather than doing the doorbell, we do this one for the next guest.
It's the clown show of the week. That is shameless. Shameless Sean, one of his 1,000,000 channels. Fine.
Welcome to the show, Percy. How are you?
I'm all good. Thank you for having me. It's absolutely fine. You're going to set some records straight today. It's going to be good. I didn't even know England were playing. Thanks to someone who reminded me. Yeah, who cares? Let's go. Let's have it. I'm ready for this.
When we beat Man United, Stel's going to get cooked again. Another sesh. Yeah. Another cooking sesh, he said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's waiting
we
for
we were ahead away of winning. We were one moment, right?
Talk to us about this imaginary victory that you predicted. Cousin.
I know, and Perchy, one header, and Sean was off the top of the predictor table as well.
Never
I
gonna
mean,
happen.
one header away, and what we were one header away from Stell going really excited, and I've never seen someone so happy for that goal to go in. I've never seen anything like it.
And one refereeing decision away from beating Arsenal last year, one handball decision from not going 1-0 down in the Champions League, and won this. And listen, if, buts, maybes,
There's
there's
no
no
if buts.
cooking sesh.
Well,
You
if
got
buts, we're
cooked.
sat fifth in the league.
You got
cooked about what? Cooked that I wanted my team to win. Sure, cook me all you like.
I
wanted
want to win.
We
I
were
want
that
to win as
close
well.
to winning.
I'm just not deluded.
Deluded. If buts maybes, as soon as we conceded, it was get me a thumbnail.
Yeah, damn right. Damn right.
Make it up. But thank you for having me on. Obviously, thank you guys for having me on.
Says the guy who can't wait to clip and put the clips on the channel. Cooking of Stell. The cooking of Stell.
Can I just say that wasn't me? There was somebody else on this panel who told me to do that.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to.
Mister, I can't get cooked. I'm uncookable. Blah blah blah.
Well, listen, I'm the guy with the controls. I am the guy with the controls, and that's why everyone's got to be a little bit careful with whether they wind me up, because there can just be things put over the screen.
Can we talk about the goal that he scored against Man United? Oh no, wait, no, he didn't. Did he?
Here we go.
In fact, let's talk about the goal he scored this season. No, he hasn't scored. Has he?
Come on, man. That's ridiculous.
He hasn't scored. He's a striker. I'm sorry.
Sure, but then he hasn't. We got him very last minute. He hasn't been fit yet. But by the way, he's had a couple of weird injuries. The dead leg was a weird one. That went on for ages. Now he's broken his jaw. It's just it feels like a bit
about
of a
the two
weird
sitters he missed against Copenhagen from 6 yards?
No, granted, he's got to finish his dinner again on those chances. He has to. But my boy is coming back, and as I said, everyone that had the put their money on the Xavi Simons thing is starting. It's funny, isn't it? I did find it quite funny. Usually, I throw it into Simons and stuff. It went from, oh my God, Simons is crap, he must be dropped, to Frank is a problem for subbing him off. Which is it? If we change our minds every 5 minutes, guys. 1 minute Simons shouldn't be starting. Next minute Frank's wrong for subbing him off. Which is it?
Well, let's find out. Let's find out what it is, Chris. Are you someone that gets annoyed when the manager takes off the player, or is the player not done enough to deserve anything more?
No, I mean on Saturday, I thought he was playing quite well. We were one down, weren't we, when he went off. I didn't see how we were going to score at that point. So in the moment, sure, I was frustrated with that decision. But ultimately, you kind of, whether you think it's the right decision or not is fine, but you kind of got to accept that the substitutions did change the game in our favour. So where do you end up with, really? It wasn't a decision I would have made, but then there's probably a reason why I'm not a Premier League football manager, I assume. So yeah, I wouldn't have made that decision, but fair play. That's the life of a manager, right? You make your decisions and you're judged then in hindsight by what happens next. And what happened next was the substitutes played a key role in getting us to 2-1 up. So I don't think you can moan at him too much in the end because it came off. So
where do you sit, Chris, sticking with you on where we're at right now? Obviously, it's your chance to speak to a different audience than the one. I think you've spoken about this on my channel, but this is a different audience here as well. So get your get it off your chest. Are you someone that's fully behind Tommy Frank? Are you someone that's got question marks around him? Are you in the Stell camp where he can do no right? Are you in the Perchy camp where he can do no wrong? Or are you in the balance camp?
Hey,
really?
Sean is the wordsmith and makes just stuff up at this point. Never said that. See what they're doing, Stell. They're pitting me.
Hang on. You guys will get your chance. I want to get Chris's stance first on where he stands, so I can pick him next week.
In the process.
That's how it works. Them the rules.
I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty chilled. I think he's got a difficult job where a couple of things have happened. We haven't quite covered ourselves as we need to in the transfer window. And then he's just had an absolute shed load of injuries, new players. You know, I remember I was on some stream, I can't even remember when, but or whose it was rather, after the Wolves game, saying this is what's going to happen time and again over the next few months. So when it is continually happening time and again, I'm relatively chilled about it, because I'm not sure there's a huge thing he can do until he gets some people back from injury or we sign some new players. That said, what we'd love to do as a fan base, I'm not saying these two up here necessarily, but there is a whole group of one extreme or the other, right? Frank's the second coming, or he's like the worst manager in the world. But you can still, I don't think he's the best manager ever, but I'm behind him. However, that doesn't mean that you just back everything he does, right? So there are things that have happened that will give me some concern, but that concern is still relatively mild. We're still very early into this journey. If those things are still there 6 months, 12 months down the line, and we're still playing the kind of relatively dull football, let's be honest, that we've seen in most games, I'll be honest, even though our away record's better, it's not as though we've been superb when we're playing. Like, the football's not been brilliant. So if that's still the same in 6, 12 months' time, I think it's a different conversation. But for now, yeah, I'm relatively patient. Although, of course, every time you see the same thing happen, the frustration grows just a little bit, but it's not going to grow significantly till after the transfer window for me, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Before I let Stel come back at me, and Perchi also wants to chime in, I'm going to make them wait with bated breath a little bit here. Luba, I'm going to come to your side as well, mate. This Xavi Simons thing, he does seem to be, like, the absence of Daniel Levy means that the fan base are scrambling. They're scrambling to find new enemies, new villains. And I think Xavi Simons is playing the part of one of them, isn't he?
I don't know why the fans have got to look for anybody. We're 3 months into a new season.
Because Levy's gone.
What?
The irony.
Levy's gone. You know? People like you, people like the guy next to me, you guys have spent whenever Tottenham have lost or played badly, there's been very little in the way of sort of analysis or diagnosis. It's just been, let's get on a camera and let's go after Daniel Levy. And now Daniel Levy's gone. You know, there's a void, there's a vacuum that needs to be filled by some people. Well, you know how it works, Lugo.
I'll tell you how it works, Sean. If Thomas Frank was here after 23, 24 years and it was still shit, then I'm going to come after him like I did with Levy. But he hasn't. He hasn't even been here 23 weeks. So let's give the guy a chance. You know, you got to look at what he's working with. He's Sean, can we still? Yeah, listen, we can blame Daniel Levy, whatever you want, Freddie. That'd be fine with me.
Lubo will make some way of doing it. You'll juggle it. You'll juggle it out some way.
No, listen, it's the guy's doing okay for the squad he's got. He's been wrecked with injuries. He's short. We don't have an 8. We don't have a 9. We haven't got a 10 at the moment because Simmons is still settling in. An 11. Odebear's had 2 or 3 decent games recently, and hopefully that's a really positive sign, and hopefully he'll be kept in and he'll continue to improve. But you can't say we've got an 11 like a Bale or a Ginola. So we're missing an 8, 9, 10 and 11, and we're 5th in the table. Now, people will say, okay, fine, there's only literally a few points between 10, 12 clubs. But we're there. We're not 15th, or 17th, as we were last year. So, if you're looking, if it wasn't Spurs that finished 17th last year, for argument's sake, say it was Wolves or West Ham, and they were 17th, and then they're 5th at the moment, you'd be looking at them thinking, Jesus, the new manager's doing a decent job here. But because it's Spurs, our fans seem to have an entitlement that we should be up there with Arsenal.
Yeah, they do.
Not all of them, some of them. And I don't understand
why.
I
agree. I definitely agree with that.
We haven't got, you look at PSG, they've got Kvaratskhelia, Doué and Dembele. And then look at our front three.
And Bradley Barcola.
That's right. And our fans expect Frank to play the way that Luis Enrique plays. Well, how can you? You've got to look at what he's got at his disposal to work with. So
how do Bournemouth do it then? How do Bournemouth do it? What is this?
Well, Iriota didn't win any of his first 9 games.
No, we're talking about style of play. Now you're talking about winning. You specifically referenced style of play. How did Bournemouth do it then?
But they have bought players, and he has adapted his style of play. It's grown with the players.
Adapted his style of play.
With the players that he's bought over time. He hasn't been in the game.
Paulinho, Kudus, Xavi Simons, Tell.
But to be fair, Bournemouth don't sit there and play crazy expansive football every game. There's some games where they sit in and sit dogging deep. Like, I think when we talk about style of play, I don't think there's anyone in the Premier League that does it all the time. So I think I hear this all the time about.
We never do it.
Huh? I was about to say, when do we do it?
We never do it.
No. You can grant it on that point, but Bournemouth have got all good midfielders that can pass the ball, right? But even now, you're seeing with Bournemouth, they're starting to go in a little bit of a wobble. So we're still above Bournemouth, aren't we, in the league? So, equally, we are above them in the league as well. So it kind of goes both ways. I think the style of football, I hear this all the time, right? And I hear about the style of football, and I hear that, that's the most important thing. But is it in the sense of, maybe you could say at home, but I don't think that's Thomas Frank's remit at the moment. Isn't about making it enjoyable for Joe Bloggs sat in the stands. About his job in his remit is to get wins and get results, right? And at the moment, we're sat 5th in the league. We've won 5 out of 11. We've lost 3. Yeah, granted, we've drawn 3, but I don't know if it's as bad as.
Why didn't you say that when Mourinho and Conte were here?
I did say that about Mourinho and Conte.
Mate, all of you hounded Conte out. You all hounded him out.
When did I hound? I didn't hound Conte out. This is the massive
football.
Huh?
Football.
My thing with Antonio Conte had nothing to do with the football. For me, I was at a stage with Antonio Conte. This is just me talking in the sense of my opinion on it. Was he didn't want to be here? You could tell he didn't want to be here. I was at a stage where I was like, well, every minute you're miserable in press conferences. I'm sitting there going, I'm at the stage where I don't really care. By the way, his first part season, because he joined mid through the season, I like what he came in. I went, do you know what? It'd kick up the arse. But the second season, if you didn't finish the whole season, I just sort of went, you don't want to be here, mate. I don't it was just miserable with him being here. You could tell we didn't want to be. It had nothing to do with the style of football. I didn't really care about that because we were getting results, right? And it's ironic, isn't it, Stel? You want to throw that at me? You equally are the guy that said when we had Conte here, that said, I don't care about the style of play. It's all about results. Well, we're sat 5th in the league. So equally, you can't be a hypocrite by saying, you can't be a hypocrite by going, but we don't play great football now. But we don't. But you didn't.
I can accept shit football if we get results. Not going out to
What do you want?
Not going out to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, then putting the worst game of the season 5 days later after we rested everyone against Newcastle.
You make it sound like
that's unacceptable. If you're going to play shit, listen, Conte played turgid football, but he got us top 4 when we were 12. The second season when he left us, when we hounded him out of the club,
we're 4th in the league, my man.
One at a time, guys. One at a time, please.
Look, my view is this. I'm franking until the end of the next summer window where we see whether or not he can force actual change at this club, whether he's a yes man or whether Enoch even give a shit. We won't know until the 1st of September. So until then, you won't ever hear me say Frank out. What I'm not going to do is a hypocrisy that's happened with all the other previous managers. We hounded Conte and Mourinho out because of shit football, but it's okay for Frank to play shit football. We all smashed Ange. He wasn't allowed to use the excuse that he had injuries. But he's got to adapt. Now we've got injuries just as bad as last season. But poor Frank. Listen, it's one rule for all the other managers. Frank seems to be playing from a different rule book to the rest. That's all I'm saying. I treat Frank the way every other manager gets treated. When I see Spurs attack, can I finish what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
When I see Spurs attack and Xavi Simons is running with the ball and none of the fullbacks are pushing up because our manager has instructed them to hold back, sorry, that's on Frank. Someone needs to talk about it. When I see us having all these injuries and he starts Richie left wing ahead of Odobert, sorry, that's got nothing to do with injuries. You put Richie left wing. He's shit. Odegaard's the left winger. So stuff like that, if I don't speak about it, who in this fan base will? Are we just going to nod our heads like puppies and go, oh, that's okay?
No, I call it out. I position myself in a wonderful
never got a pass. Conte never got a pass. Nuno never got a pass.
Oh,
Mourinho never got a pass. All these managers we turned against massively for the same things I'm now seeing. But I'm not Frank out because I understand. I understand he deserves a year. I'm just being balanced with what I've seen in the past from our fan base.
Ange wasn't hounded out. Ange was. The difference is he was losing every week. Massive difference. Frank isn't losing every week.
Yeah, but he had injuries, Percy. No, wait, he had injuries. He had injuries.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse for Frank.
We were still playing.
That's not an excuse for Ange. Frank's allowed
no one's used the excuse. Who's used the excuse for Frank? I haven't said injury.
A lot of people are saying what? Percy, fair's fair. People that were unforgiving with the injuries that Ange had, are very forgiving for the injuries that Frank.
The same people were blaming injuries last season. I saw all this crap last season. Everyone was blaming injuries. By the way, I don't use injuries. I didn't use it for Ange. I'm not using it for Frank. You deal with what you've got. Frank he's put us 5th in the league with these injuries.
That's right.
Ange had us in almost a relegation battle.
But he won the Europa Cup though. He won the Europa Cup.
Yeah,
Frank crashed out the Carabao Cup.
Okay, cool, but that's not my point. We're talking about league form here at the moment. We can't win a cup in November. So let's wait until we can see.
Can't win a cup if we crash out the competition as well, Percy.
We got no. Hang on a minute. Ange in his first
than we did under Ange.
Ange in our first season got us booted out of the cup in the second round. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So let's not make it double standard.
So let's treat both managers with the same energy because Ange got berated for that. Berated.
Yeah. And
the only reason Thomas Frank wasn't participating in the second round was because Ange won us the Europa League and we were back in Europe, and he beat Doncaster. So when you say let's be honest, Thomas Frank didn't do that much better in the Carabao Cup. He beat Doncaster. That's it. Let's not give him all these flowers on that one.
Well, no. I'm not talking about that though. Ange got us booted out in the first opportunity in the cup in his first season. I'm not using Doncaster. I expect us to be beating Doncaster.
Okay, at this stage last season, we were top of the league under Ange then. In his first season, we were top of the league.
Yeah, okay. But we know football's not as linear as that, though. I'm not.
You're the one that's comparing the first 10 games.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't comparing anything. I'm trying to actually land my point.
You're saying in the cup where we were with
I haven't even been able to actually explain my point. It's funny, isn't it? I'll let Stell go on for waffle for absolute ages. My point was... I'll go back. Hang on, I'm going back to the manager. So, Ange, first season, no one hounded Ange out in the first season. I had a lot of question marks, but I went, do you know what? Let's see how this plays out season 2. Absolutely worst decision ever.
Did you stay off the 4-1 against Chelsea?
So,
hang on, one at a time, guys. We're over talking each other. Go on, Percy.
Conte wanted himself out of here. This isn't about hounding him out. Conte didn't want to be here. Jose... By the way, I thought it was an absolute shocking. I thought Jose should have gone earlier than he did, but to sack him just before a cup final is ludicrous. I think most of us all agree on that premise, right?
You did, didn't you, Sean?
What did I say?
You agreed, didn't you, that it was ridiculous Levy getting rid of Jose the week before the final?
Yeah.
I think most football fans looking at it was a ridiculous decision. By the way, I do think Jose should have gone a long time earlier. I thought it was all over the place, but you don't sack a manager of Jose's caliber before a cup final because it's easy for someone like Jose Mourinho to use that in his arsenal, so to speak. But I just think, look, I think for me with the whole Frank thing, I'm not sitting here defending Frank on everything. I don't think I do that. If people think I do, that's not what I think. But I look at what we've got. We're 5th in the league. We lost in the cup. We've lost in the cup to Newcastle. Sure, like the way people talking to us losing to Newcastle in the cup is like we got beaten by Notts County. Like Newcastle are a good outfit. They're a good football side. Like, and they beat us on the state.
Purchase.
They've got a better squad than us. Huh?
It's the fact we went out to them, resting a couple of players because we focused on the Chelsea game, and then we put in the most hideous performance.
We rotated. I think it was 4 players.
We rested some players.
Sorry, 3. 1 was an injury because Vicario got an injury.
Okay, so we rested 3 players because we wanted to focus on the Chelsea game.
They rotated, I think it was 6 or 7.
Okay, so we rotated 3 players because we wanted to focus the full strength team to play against Chelsea.
No.
We played.
I'll answer this, mate.
This is mad.
Take a breath.
No, you're talking absolute rubbish. We rested players to focus for the Chelsea game.
We rested less players than any other top side.
We did.
But we still rested players so that they could play for the Chelsea game. Because they all played in the Chelsea game.
No, that's not how it works.
So they did.
Hang on.
Against Chelsea.
Guys.
Against Chelsea.
Still, Kudus was on the. I think Kudus came on. I think Van der Ven was the only one.
He was rested. He didn't start, Lubo.
Right, okay, but he still came on. And let's be honest about. Hang on,
he was rested. He didn't start with him.
Still, let's be honest. Between Richie and Kinski, Richie in front of 1 goal and Kinski in front of ours. Between them, they cost us the game. Not resting players. If those 2 had done their job, then we'd have come away.
If Van der Ven was at centre back instead of Paulinho, then the header from Newcastle might not go in the back of the net.
No, Kinski shouldn't have come for that.
Mate, and if we had a proper defender there that won the header instead of Paulinho, who should be the centre back.
If he'd have stayed on his line,
and if our main centre back was on the pitch,
and how many scissors did Richie miss? So come on, let's be honest about it.
Lubo, you cannot hide the fact.
It's been a while since I've had to pull that one out. Guys, we have to do one at a time. There's people in the comments saying this is unlistenable because we're over talking each other. One at a time.
It's the denial. It's the absolute denial that we didn't play our full strength squad against Newcastle because we were focusing on the Chelsea game. And then all those players started against Chelsea. It's a complete denial from Lubo. It's ridiculous.
Still, Vicario, hang on. It was Kinski for Vicario. Vicario was injured.
I know who didn't play, Lubo. I know.
Right. Richie was up front.
It's your denial that we didn't do it. Because
one at a time. One. Lubo first, then Stell, and then I'm going to bring Chris in, okay?
Still, there was no one else to play centre forward at Newcastle.
I said go full strength against Newcastle and Chelsea and rest against Copenhagen. That's what I said on the show. We rested a few against Newcastle, crashed out the cup. Then we played the full strength team against Newcastle, Chelsea, and we were awful. Awful.
We didn't
I hear every excuse under the sun for it. If it was Angelo Conte, it would have been knives out, daggers, murders. That's the difference, guys. I'm just trying to be balanced with what we've been like with all the other managers. That's all.
You're not listening. Still, you're not listening.
I am, but you're in denial.
You're blaming the fact. You're blaming Frank because he rested 3 players or rotated 3 players. But it wasn't the players that came in that cost us the game. Kinski was in.
You're not getting it. You're not getting it.
I am getting
it. No, you're not, because if you're going to rest players and you're going to crash out the cup, we even did a show on this. We said now we're out. What must be acceptable? We said you've got to put in a good performance against Chelsea. What happened against Chelsea after that?
We got slapped up.
But that's
the point I'm making. That's why we didn't start Kudus. That's why we didn't start Van der Ven.
There's nothing to say that we wouldn't have got slapped up anyway, mate. We were bang average that day. Go on, Chris. I want to bring Chris in. I want to give equal time here because everyone's over talking.
I mean, that would be my point. I don't know massively why we're getting into how important one game is in terms of Frank's acceptability or not acceptability, given that we all know anything can happen in football. We could have put our first team out and dominated the game and still lost. On another day, we could have changed 11 players and won on penalty. Anything could have happened. I don't think one match really should be massively altering our opinion on anything, personally. So I just think it's a little bit massively over the top for what happened in one game. Like, let's judge on the entirety of what's happening.
Yeah, the entirety of what's happening for me is I think that, listen, I'm not married to any particular opinion anymore. You know, I learned the lesson with the Levy thing that once you get parked into a corner, you end up fighting fires that you don't necessarily always want to fight just because you're married to an opinion. So these days I'm uncookable because I am happy to go whichever way the wind is. Perchy's giving me that look. Perchy's giving me that look like I'm uncookable, like it's a shocker. Why are you looking at me like that, Perchy? What's that look for?
I've never known anyone who moves with the wind. I mean, literally, like whatever happens, whoosh.
Listen, I'm at the stage right now where I'm conscious of the context in which Thomas Frank is trying to operate. I think he's in a tough game, but I do think that Tottenham Hotspur have got more depth than most people consider because we're still able to field a fairly strong team with a 10 or 11 players out. But I do think that he's not progressing the game. I think the best version of ourselves has been in the first 2 or 3 games of the season. I don't think we're getting any better. I think we're getting worse. And so where there's criticism to offer it, I will provide it with the balance and the context in which it should be given. But it's so much more fun seeing other people that have embodied themselves in, like, they're married to the opinions that Thomas Frank can do no right or Thomas Frank can do no wrong. And I can just sit there and just poke holes and annihilate people with their inconsistent logic. And there is a hell of a lot of hypocrisy going on at the moment. There are people that sit there and say that Thomas Frank, what else can he do? Look at the injuries he's got. But they weren't giving that same kind of credit or luxury or affordability or whatever to Ange Postecoglou because they'd long since made up their mind on Ange Postecoglou. Now, I didn't want Ange, but not because of his football. I didn't want Ange because of his vocalization of his excuses. I felt like I got sick and tired of that side of him rather than anything else. In terms of Thomas Frank, I think he is playing. He's setting up not to lose, and I think that's a problem at home. I think that Tottenham Hotspur have to throw more caution to the wind. And if they don't throw more caution to the wind, then Tottenham fans at home will get very, very sick of it very, very quickly. And I think that people that are sitting there saying that there's nothing more he can do are wildly misreading the room, in my opinion.
Surely the first thing in this journey, though, is to make us difficult to beat, right? Because the easiest thing in the world would be for Thomas Frank just to go, you know what, we'll just forget defence. We'll play with a load of attackers. We won't bother worrying about how our defence is structured. How did that work out for us under Ange? Like, we just got pummeled every week. So
Chris,
it's dead easy to have that attacking intent. I think that comes second after you make us difficult to beat.
But there's a balance, mate. There's a middle ground between being Bonnie Blue FC and Mother Teresa settings, which is what we currently have. There's just a nice promiscuous girl who's a lady on the street but a freak in the bed. That's what you want. You don't want a girl who's an absolute, who's doing the kind of gung-ho football.
It needs to slowly get better. Right now, I have no massive issue with it. He's been dealing with no meaningful striker for whatever reason. He's been dealing with, I'm not on the Odebear train fully, albeit fair enough, he had a good second half against United. But we haven't got a functioning attacking unit, have we? So at the moment, I'm patient with it. If it's still like this in a few months' time, that is a different conversation.
So how long? Just sorry, still 1 second. Just quickly, just to sort of still man your argument here. How long does he get before you start to criticise in this season in the football that you're seeing?
I'd like to see Kulusevski come back. Solanke, maybe. What is wrong with Solanke? But maybe that's for a different discussion because I've seen some of the more wild rumours on Solanke. But get a couple of them back. Hopefully get a new signing in January. But yeah, I mean, if they come back this side of Christmas, then January, February, I'd expect to be seeing some reasonably significant improvements.
Is it fair to say though? Is it fair to say that Frank, the strength of the team is at the back? So you watch your strengths always, surely.
But we're not hard to beat. We're not. We've been so lucky, man. We're lucky. Bournemouth should have put 5 past us. Chelsea should have put 5 past us. Monaco 5. Bodo. The amount of games I've seen us get pummeled to existence, and we get away with it. I don't look at Spurs and say we're really hard to beat. There's been a couple of performances where I said that was a solid, pragmatic display when the pressure came onto us. There's been a few this year I'll say that. But I don't look at us and say we're hard to beat. Not at all. I think we've been very lucky this season so far when it comes to teams not putting us to bed.
Do you not think
we've lost 4 games this season, and we haven't been apps. There's no game, whether or not
that's why I said lucky.
No, but take performance aside. Some performances have been shocking. I think we can all agree on that. But we've not been battered by anyone. Physically,
we've been lucky in those games, bro. We've been so lucky. Ricardio's had absolute worldies for us. Brilliant.
Monaco, we were walked off that part. How we got off that part 0-0 was out of this like
Which
just
game?
ridiculous. Monaco.
Yeah, we should have lost there. Definitely, we weren't great there.
We should have lost at Bodo, and we should have lost more heavily than we did at Chelsea when Chelsea came to our place.
And Bournemouth.
And we're talking about one defeat there, though.
We went 2-0 down to Brighton in the first half. That's not hard.
Objectively, we aren't easy to beat. Whether we don't, because the thing is the way we look at it from such as a performance Spurs lens and stuff. We do this all the time. Like, here's the argument though: if we did get hammered in those, it would be we're crap. So yeah. Look, I don't think we've been we haven't been great this season. I think we can all agree we haven't been great. But when we say we are hard to beat, we are statistically, objectively hard to beat. We've only lost a game by more than one goal once, i.e. Newcastle in the Cup. We lost 1-0 to Chelsea, whether or not we should or shouldn't have lost more. We lost, was it 2-1 against Villa? And who was the other team we lost in the league?
1-0 to Bournemouth.
1-0 to Bournemouth, right?
But they could have been 5-0. They tore us to shreds.
This does sound a bit like last season to me. How long did we under Ange have? Oh yeah, but we've only lost by a goal when we were continually ripped open. So I think the balance.
We were getting battered every week. Like my point is, we were losing every week.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, but we're not losing every week. Is all I'm saying.
We're getting lucky, Perchy. That's the point. We're getting lucky.
But whatever you want to call it, we're statistically not getting battered. Whether you like
those
it or
kind
not,
of stats can only truly be analysed at the end of the season.
You love to live by facts, and then when facts are presented in front of you,
I'm not ignoring the facts. I'm not ignoring the facts. What I'm saying is you can't make analysis purely on stats. You've got to look at stats. You've got to look at professional commentators' discussion. You've got to look at the optics. When I look at all of it, the stats represent a very lucky outcome for me so far. Very lucky outcome.
Is it not fair just to sum up? The football's a tough watch most of the time. We've had a few good games. We've had a few games we've been lucky not to get hammered, but by and large, we're fifth. We finished 17th last season, so it's a bit of a jump up the table at the moment. He's not working with the sort of players that he needs. We are short of 4 players at the moment in that first team. And
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We are missing quality. I think that's another key.
And was missing quality as well. He was missing 12 players at one stage.
Can I back Stell up a little bit with some actual stats that can be used to support it? So, although actually it suggests that our attack is a much bigger problem, right? So when you look, I know everyone's not a fan of this, but I think there is value in kind of XG and stuff like that. So our XG that we're conceding on average is the 8th best in the league. So it's not a disaster. However, the reality is we're outperforming the XG. So we're not conceding as many as the stats say that we should. On the flip side, attacking XG is the 20th, 19th, 16th best, 16th best, I suppose. So we are right at the bottom of the league for how many chances we're creating. But we're also massively outperforming that as well. So we're scoring far more than the chances we create, and we're not conceding as many as the chances we give up. That's what the stats say. Which
so it's luck. So we're luck. So it's luck. It
does speak to what Stell's saying. To be fair, I mean, I'm much more patient about it, but I think there is a merit to the argument.
Traditionally, you will regress back to the mean. XG and XAG and XAG will, or XGA, whatever it is, will regress back to the mean. So we are
actually, I've just flipped the league table. You can sort it by various things. So if you sort it by how much are you outperforming your net XG, so you're attacking and defending, we are top of the league for the team that's most not in line with the actual XG that's occurring in the game.
So we're punching well above our weight. Lady Luck is shining on us. Yeah, that's a great stat.
That's Mickey Van der Ven driving it.
Yeah, listen, 10 years of poor transfer windows, 10 years. And Frank is being left to sweep up the shit that he's...
No.
10 years.
Conte had to sweep up shit. Mourinho had to sweep up shit. Ange had to sweep up shit. Nuno had to sweep up shit.
How did we finish? How did we finish in the Champions? How did we finish in the Champions League spots all those years, mate?
Yeah,
mate. Conte had a midfield of wings.
Hang on.
Oliver Skip and Højbjerg. Yeah, the defense of Iron Longley, Chicky Royale and Ben Davies.
I'm not having this settled science that people in the Levy out camp always seem to think that that nobody was ever backed and that our ownership didn't do anything. We had over a long enough period. We qualified for Europe in 15 of the last 17 seasons.
Well, it's
to
not
sit there and say that we've had failed transfer windows galore. Yes, we've had some mistakes, a lot of mistakes on individual players. We've also signed some absolute top draw that have outperformed, because otherwise we wouldn't have played in the Champions League as frequently as we did. We wouldn't have got to the Champions League final. Hang on, let me finish my point. We wouldn't have got to the Champions League final. We wouldn't have won the Europa League. We wouldn't have got to 8 semi-finals and 2 finals in that time period. Like it's madness to sit there and pretend like our seat. Huh?
Look at the transfer. The players that have come in the last 10 years. The only one to come in Poch's main team, the only one in the last 10 years, because the rest were there by 2015, was Wanyama, the only one. And since then, since Poch didn't buy that many players. There were a few people that were bought right at the end that he couldn't even integrate because Levy got rid of him after 10 weeks. The guy took us to the furthest that any manager has ever taken us to in European competition. He's
not kicking the ball, he's not scoring the goals. So the players that we had in that squad were bought by our ownership and our directors of football. To have got into European football, if you're saying it's failed transfers or failed transfer windows, then you're setting that relative to some other expectation. Let me finish. You're setting that to some other relevant expectation that you're obviously suggesting that the only reason that it's poor is because we weren't capable of competing with the likes of Liverpool or Chelsea or City. And we can go back to that whole thing about the 5 teams that have won 90% of trophies if you want to. We can go and do the rehash, but that's nonsense.
Alderweireld was fine as well.
Sorry, let me come back on. Let me simplify this regarding the transfer market. The market went berserk 9 or 10 years ago with Neymar and then Mbappe. And Poch with Paul Mitchell, they were picking up, and before then, they were picking up some great deals. Lloris came for 12 million, Vertonghen for 12 million, Dembele for 15 million, etc., etc., etc. All of a sudden, the transfer market exploded. But Levy wouldn't go with it. Wasn't interested.
Yeah.
Wasn't interested.
Other teams still signed at that level.
He wasn't.
What do you mean he wasn't?
What does that mean?
He's gone.
We spent 60 million quid on Ndombele. We spent 60 million quid on Richarlison. What do you mean we didn't go with it?
We paid about that for Lo Celso as well, to be fair.
We paid ridiculous amounts of money for players. Sit there and pretend like Daniel Levy spent 8 times more money on average per season in the 5 years since we joined the new stadium than the 5 years prior. Okay, to sit there and say that we didn't. We spent an average of £108 million a year over the last 5 years. More than that now. That number's going to have increased because of the last 18 months, Lubo. To sit there and pretend like Daniel Levy didn't put his hand in the club or the club didn't put their hand in their pockets to buy players is absolute nonsense driven by an agenda.
The only time he gave a manager money to spend, proper money, he gave it to the wrong guy. He gave it to the Joker.
So what is it? So because a minute ago your argument was he didn't want to do with the inflation, and now it is he backed the wrong guy. But you're moving the argument.
Proper money.
You're moving the argument.
Proper money for top players. This summer, this summer was the first one. This summer was the first time they've gone out and they've spent proper money on proper players.
Loads under Ange. Hang on a minute. Well,
can I say all the players that Frank signed in the summer, none of them have been injured except for Moani. The rest have all played. Simmons is available. Kudus is avavel. Okay, he missed 1 game last week. Paulini's played every game. He's got all his players in this team.
But that's in fairness though, he is missing some of key players that took big injuries in the pre-season.
Yeah, I know, Perchi, which is why I've said, and I stick to this. I will be Frank in until the 1st of September next year, because then I will know exactly what type of manager I've got and what type of so-called new corporate structure we've got. Until then, I won't be able to answer that. So all I'm doing is I judge it week by week what I see, and I compare it to what...
Actually, after all of this, you're in the same boat as me, where you want to see how we get on by the start of next season, right? So we're all you're in the same boat as me, because that's exactly where I've always stood. I said this season, let's see how it gets. Let's see how it builds the season and where we get to, because that's what we've always been.
But at the same time, when I see we can't attack, I can't, after 10 games, say, oh, it's because of injuries, when I can see as a coach,
I'm not blaming
the way
injuries.
we set up.
Injuries here.
No, but
Actually, guys, can we just go one at a time? The audience is constantly saying that they can't hear. So can everyone just wait and let one person go at a time?
What I'm saying is, we agree that we give Frank until the start of next season before we can properly judge. But what I'm saying is, after 10 games, I've seen enough to know that our attack isn't just stifled because of injuries. It's because of the approach we take to the games, which is a tactical one, which holds us back in games where I don't feel we need to hold back. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of fans don't want to go there. They don't want to dare say that, hold on, Frank's being a little bit too cautious here. He's holding us back. Even Lubo mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. He said, we've got to be different at home. We can't keep playing the way we are at home.
Yeah.
So that's all. That's my only criticism of Frank is, mate, you don't need to play like this every single game. We've got players that are actually a bit better than shit. they're a bit better than that. Let's see if they can play. I don't think Xavi Simons, we're getting the best out of him because of the way we set up. I think we're holding back Xavi Simons, personally speaking. And I said that 3 weeks ago.
But if you've got much better players up front, then his style of football will change accordingly.
Yeah, but Lubo, if Xavi Simons hasn't got options to pass on the left or right when he's breaking, whose fault is that?
No, of course.
If the players aren't making the runs because they're having to hold back. That's got to do with the quality of the players.
No.
Players aren't even making the runs for him.
But still, that's down to them.
That's down to them to hold back. You can see it.
You can't. I don't believe that Frank
Porro doesn't get up. Porro doesn't get up.
Sorry,
hang on. I don't believe for 1 minute that Frank says you four go against the whole of their team and the other seven hold back. Don't support them. Let the four go on. You know, if the other team drop back, then it's 4 against 10. I don't believe that for 1 minute. Our players are bloody lazy and they're not making runs. And that's down to them. That is down to them.
You don't say that when we go away from home and we get results, though. You don't say that. You can't say that. They don't pick and choose. Oh, this week we're at home, I'll be lazy. Oh, we're away next week, I'll work hard. I don't believe that either. I've noticed this year, Porro does not get forward the way he did in previous years. He's more reserved. Even Spence, I think, is more reserved in terms of getting forward. Sorry, Chris.
No, I actually agree with you, Stel, to be honest. I think it is by design. I just think the most likely explanation is that Frank is fearing that if we give them more license, that we're going to be too open and then we're going to start sacrificing results. And that's my belief. And I'm willing to live with that for a period of time until he's got more players back or new players in where that can change. And if it doesn't change at that point, I think there's no other argument but to conclude exactly what you've just said. And then I think Frank is liable for it. But I can kind of understand it a little bit for now. So I've got a little bit of patience with it. But it's crap to watch. I'll concede that.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I've been saying this and I'm going to continue to say it. If you watch that Manchester United game closely and you came to the conclusion that it's not by design, then I don't know what you are watching. What I'll grant that there could be a debate around whether or not the design, that to me is unquestionable, of the tactics, is because the players are not, like, because Thomas Frank doesn't think the players are good enough to play any more offensively, or whether it's because the players look that way because they're not given the license to promote and to go forward and progress. There's a debate there as to what the catalyst is for why it's happening. But the argument of whether it's happening or not is absolute. For me, it's ridiculous. It is 100% a tactic that Xavi Simons gets the ball and the two men behind him are not allowed to move past unless there is a sustained period of horseshoe football, at which point the back line slowly approach the halfway line and players like Bentancur or Polina or Sarr or whoever start to move forward, but they never get past they never get past Xavi Simons. And similarly, Pedro Porro does not get forward in any way. He doesn't invert. He doesn't get past the line of the midfielders. He is told to stay back, maybe because Thomas Frank doesn't rate rates the risk, the kind of risk reward on that in a certain way, Or maybe it's because the players are a little bit confused. I don't know, but the argument that they are just sitting there being lazy, Luba, I'm sorry, mate. Like it's been so obvious for so long now in the team watching closely that it is by design, in my opinion. I'm 100% certain of that. But it's just whether or not it is because Thomas Frank doesn't trust the players or the players don't understand the system. Either way, it's 100%, in my opinion, by design.
I've listened to enough managers over the years who always say you attack together, you defend. You attack as a unit, you defend as a unit. There is no point. Frank wants to win games. If Simmons is in midfield, he's got to have support. He's got to have at least 3 options around that he can play the ball to. If players aren't running and they're just sitting back and saying, "Oh, yeah, go on, you get on with it," what does he think? You're going to get
because he's been asked not to.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that Frank says, "Don't go and support your teammate when he's on the ball."
Right, Lubo, can I ask you a question then? Let's go with the premise that you're right. It's because the players are lazy. If they're lazy, why isn't the manager taking them off?
Well, he makes enough substitutions still. You don't get.
When did we make our first sub against Man United? Because that whole first half was lazy by your analysis. Because at half time, the same team came out.
The first sub was at half time at Odebear from Moani, and after that was obviously through injury.
That was because of injury. What player that you deemed as lazy was taken off, and at what time?
Listen, I need to sit.
I'll tell you. It wasn't until the last 20 minutes. So our manager was happy for a lazy bunch of players to be on the pitch.
You guys have just said, Benson Course, does not support. Well, for me, we don't need a double. We don't need a double pivot. We don't need 2 CDMs at home unless you're playing a top team.
If you, Luba, hold on a minute. Can we go back to this lazy thing? Because you're drifting here a minute.
If you've
got lazy players on the pitch, right? If I can see the manager, Xabi Simmons makes a run, no one supports him because they're lazy. Why aren't I calling them over and saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" Or why aren't I coming over and saying, "Off"? Why does none of that happen then? If they're lazy, because none of that happens. None of it.
Well, if you look at the substitutions, still he takes off more strikers than he does defenders.
But Lubo, that wasn't until like 20 minutes to go.
Well, if you look,
I don't understand.
I'm going to show you right now something, guys. I want you to see this, right? And I want you to tell me.
I don't think they're lazy. I think they're being told to hold back for the reason Chris said. He's scared that we might open up. He's scared of it. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't lose.
Or he just doesn't trust the attackers we've got at the moment. Is it not? Could it not be that? I think we must look at the attackers and go, I can't. If I can't, we're not good enough in the final third. Like we're just
what
not.
Is that? What is that on the screen? Right. That phaser play lasted about 25 seconds. If I could show you the video, Xabi Simmons literally turned around 3 times and ended up doing that as if to say, "Help me." Pedro Porro standing in line with Polinia and Pape Sarr. And on the left, Jed Spence drifting forward. That's not a fast jog, by the way. It's a drift. Richarlison covered by Mazraoui. And then Johnson on the other side was covered by, Dorgu? And then you had Kolo Muani that had 3 centre-backs around him. The entire Manchester United team is in front of Xabi Simmons. And the only people in front of Xabi Simmons, after 15 seconds, 20-second period of play of him having the ball, the only people in front of him is Richarlison, Muani, who's man-marked by 3 players, and Brennan Johnson, who's on the touchline. That is by design because Pape Sarr and Polinia did not move forward, didn't offer him anything. In the end, Xabi Simmons turns around, passes it back to Pape Sarr. Simmons then tries to get beyond. I think that's Casemiro in front of him. He tries to move into the space in the half space there, and he gets turned around by Pape Sarr and given to Polinia, who then passed it to Pedro Porro, who then passed it to Johnson, and it goes out into touch. It was embarrassing. It was pathetic, and it's like those 3 people in the middle there. Simmons was looking around, going, "Move for me, do something," and the 2 of them just stood still. I do not For the life, I cannot
Sean,
in any way, shape, or form think that is laziness. That is by design.
Sean, this is what I mean when I said earlier. We're not getting the best out of Xavi Simons because this isn't how he played at Leipzig. They played a 4-2-2-2. They were very attacking down the central areas with the inverted wide players coming in. He's now almost having to play as an 8, a 10, and no support on the flanks. So we're not going to get the best out of Xavi Simons playing this way unless we've got a fast break counter attack.
Or let him come deep, because I mean, Man United weren't doing it, but every other team in the Premier League right now is 15 out of the 20 are moving to a man-to-man marking, a team-based man-to-man marking, and there's very few ways that you counteract that apart from, well, there's one of them is to beat your individual man in a duel, in which case you need physicality, and there's lots of teams that can have a physicality supremacy. Or you can do sort of tricky 1-2 passes and try and get past it, but that requires technical skill that we maybe don't have. Or you can get a player like Maddison used to do last season, where he would drift all the way back to the halfway line or back to the centre-back line to pick the ball up in the hope that it would draw the DM well out of position. And then that way you can create a little bit of space, and then you can hand the ball off to Romero and ping it forward. But this Manchester United weren't doing that. They were letting us have the ball. And someone's asked me, why are you only taking one screenshot? I just went and grabbed one screenshot very quickly for the purpose, but there's countless examples of it. But that particular play lasted about 20 seconds and nobody moved. It was like the game, they were statues.
It wasn't the only time in the game either. There were 2 or 3 similar times that happened. You could see someone get frustrated with it.
Chris, we looked down and there were plenty of times Romero had the ball and looked up, looking for. I mean, there were 1 or 2 passes that in the end he tried to play Hollywood balls that got cut out because players weren't running.
I thought our movement.
The guys up front weren't running for him.
Yeah, no, I thought our movement was the worst I can ever remember seeing it against United. But the worry is that is potentially part of Frank's philosophy. I hope not. I hope that was.
Surely. Listen, he sets up more not to lose than to win. We know that. I was shocked by the fact that he had Richie on the left and Spence on the left as well, instead of Udogie and Odebear, who I thought looked very good together against Copenhagen, and have looked, and their relationship is building nicely as the season goes on. Second half, we're chasing the game. Second half, it looked a lot better, didn't it? The attacking, the movement was better, and Odebear was taking on his fullback. And once one player takes on the opposition and goes past him, you've then got space to move. The whole situation opens up.
And that's went down to 10 men.
Well, hang on. Well, when did that?
It went down to 10 men on the 79th minute.
79th minute. So we had 18 minutes against 10 men.
Okay.
But yeah, look, if you're playing against a man-to-man press, yeah, as soon as you beat one of them, or if the press is inconsistent, then you can play around them with triangles. But Man United weren't doing the press; they were letting us have the ball, and that's what's more frustrating. And someone just asked the question here, Lubo: if you believe that Thomas Frank deserves time, and you think it's not by design, and you're saying it's laziness, then the players aren't doing what Thomas Frank is asking. I believe they're doing what Thomas Frank is asking, which for me is unforgivable against a dusty team like Man United at home. But if they're not doing what Thomas Frank is asking, and if all of that frustration that was boiled over when the team walked off the pitch against Chelsea, and you see Mickey van der Ven and Jed Spence basically like do that to Thomas Frank and Udogie, then what's worse? A team that's set up by a manager that's listening to the manager play shitty defensive, horrible tactics, or a bunch of players that aren't doing what the manager wants?
Yeah, but there goes your
Do
question.
you know what I don't get? When we played against PSG and when we played against, fair enough, it was pre-season, but when we played Man United in the league this year, the way we aggressively pressed and hunted the ball down in packs, pushed up to squeeze the game, but didn't push the whole team up and still kept something back in reserve so we weren't susceptible to a counter-attack, we actually looked fucking good. We actually looked very competent and enjoyable to watch. So Frank can do it. He did it, and we nearly. Listen, guys, we were that close to beating PSG. and we beat Man City comfortably, putting in a damn good performance. So what I don't understand is why can't he do that more often, especially at home? It's the same players. Why can't we do it now? That's the bit I don't get. Frank's proven he can do it. And the players weren't lazy in those games. Why can't we do that now when Chelsea come to us? Why can't we do it when Wolves come to us? That's the bit. Why can't we do it when we go away to Bodo? I don't get it. That's the bit that I'm just, bamboozled.
Still, I think Bodo was the game. I think Romero was missing, wasn't he? And Danso looked very out of sorts.
But we can still push the game and squeeze up, and we can still do the rest. Yeah.
Listen, aside from the two Champions League games, obviously out, and the results show it. The performances obviously have been much better away from home, but we're playing away from home where we're countering, we're counter-attacking. The home team's coming onto us and they're leaving gaps behind, and we're exploiting that. But at home, it's a different matter. We're set up too defensively with the two CDMs. I wouldn't be playing Bentancur with Paulinho. I just wouldn't. I just think it's too negative. And the problem is that we're not. A lot of teams play low blocks, and by the time if the guys up front aren't moving, you get a situation. Romero's on the ball, looks up front, no one's moving, so he sends it left to Van de Ven. Van de Ven sends it to Spencer or Doggy, and it comes back. And while we're playing around at the back, the opposition's getting their team back into shape, back into position, low block, making it very difficult for us to break them down. And this is the problem. Whereas away from home, we seem to move very quickly when we do counter-attack. Some of the movement. Listen, I know Everton were pushing up, but take the third goal at Everton. We just cut through them. Bang, bang, bang.
West Ham away, I actually thought we set up really well in that game. I thought we set up really fair play. West Ham was shit then, but nonetheless, I thought we set up really well. I just don't get how our manager.
Still a horrendous game, though.
But I just don't understand how he's got it in his locker, Frank. He's got it in his locker, but for some reason he's just.
We didn't play attractive football in that game. It was two set pieces and a well worked free kick. Like the rest of that West Ham game was dog shit. The 3-0 away at Everton, the rest of the game, bar the set pieces, was horrendous. Like the only game I can think of this season where we played actually something like attractive football that had some level of output was Burnley and was Manchester City.
No, I thought Brighton we played very well. We gave them 2 goals.
The second half in Brighton was good, yeah.
We played really well.
Brighton, we did play well second half, yeah.
And you know what? In parts, I mean, we dominated Leeds until Vicario gave away the equaliser, and then we came back and Kudus got the winner, and then we were comfortable. And then he sat back, didn't he? And he defended, made some substitutions, brought down so on, and saw out the game to win 2-1. But for me, my one criticism of Frank is that he is too negative at home, and is we should be playing more attacking football at home.
Yeah, but one question on that, Luba, though, he didn't do that, did he, against United in the first half? He didn't play Paulinho and Bentancur, and we were still. Yeah,
absolutely. I've got to tell you something, Chris. That first half,
they weren't allowed to. Hold on, isn't the whole point of not playing Paulinho and Bentancur is to free up one of the players to be a bit more forward, whereas the player that came in just sat back as if it was Bentancur.
100%. This is the concern, right? So Bentancur and Paulinho were getting thrown under the bus by Twitter for being the wrong partnership when they probably shouldn't have been, and it took us to witness the exact same setup with Pape Sarr and with Paulinho to realise actually. It wasn't Bentancur and Paulinho, the partnership was the problem. It's the setup of the tactics.
The first half.
Oh, go on. Yeah, go on.
The first half, you'd have thought there were 2 championship teams playing. The level of football was just disgusting. For Spurs and Man United, it was absolutely appalling. They had the goal, and all we had the whole half, I think, was Johnson's cross that Richarlison ducked out of for some reason 2 yards from goal. The rest of it was absolute dog shit. It was the worst 45 minutes that I've seen for a long, long time. It was worse than Chelsea. At least
Both teams were scared of each other.
That's right. Chelsea played some decent football. Both sides in the first half last Saturday were appalling. And the second half, Spurs were better. You know, we came out. The keeper made those saves from Romero and Polinia. And bit by bit, and he started making substitutes from the hour mark. And Odegaard came into his own. Yes, okay, Sesko was injured. They were down to 10 men. But you know what? Teams defend, and Sesko was the centre forward. So he was the furthest player. He would have been the furthest player forwards. We still had to beat. We still had to beat. You know, when teams play a low block, Sean, they won't play all 11. They'll leave one up. Well, that one was off the pitch with Sesko. So you know, it was like playing against a low block again. They all funnel back. The 10 men funnel back. You're trying. It's not easy to beat 10 men. You know, if they set up properly and they're organised, and you got to do something a little bit different. And Odegaard was doing that, and he was beating his man, which was creating extra space, and we scored the 2 goals. I mean, it was a lovely ball into Tell, great turn and shot. And the second goal came from, again, a lot of pressure, and Odegaard hit a shot nicely, and Richie nicked the goal. But you know, it was a rerun of the Europa final. The first half was a rerun of that. The Europa final.
Let me bring this into the equation. This is a stat that I don't know, Perchi, have you seen this today?
I saw it somewhere. I'm sure Stell sent it somewhere. Just checking.
How did your answer dig me out? How does that happen?
Did you or did you not send it?
Can't you just say yes? All they have to say was I saw it, but no.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I did.
Perchi, make sense of this. So what are we thinking here?
Well, we don't make through balls. I think it's quite a self-explanatory statement, right? We don't make many through balls.
Yeah, look, is that by design, or is that a consequence of something else?
Look, I'd like to know a bit more depth on this stat. Is this successful through balls, or is this attempted through balls? I don't know. My point is because that would give you a better answer.
Actually, it's successful. It's successful.
Yeah. So I can't remember every little bit of detail. That could be a combination of players like fucking Richarlison and shit aren't very good, or our wide players aren't making very good runs, that the through balls aren't making it, or are we actually actively not making those passes? It could be a bit of a combination of both. Look, it's not good reading, but I think for us at the moment, I think the key bit is I think the bigger picture of it all, though, on that side of things, that isn't great. I mean, it just shows, by the way, how many Arsenal do, by the way, and that's the golf in the class at the moment, massively. I mean, 4 times is enormous in the short space of time. But look, I think that's a damning stat. As I said, I'd like to know how many of those were attempted and failed. That would be if someone can dig those stats, I don't know if they will, because those stats, if Estelle saying are only successful ones, is it that we're attempting them and we're not really doing it, or are we just not attempting them? Either way, it's not great. For me, look, I think mine's more of a simpler answer on it all. I think the key player at the moment is Kulusevski. I think he would thrive in the system and actually offer such more attacking threat. Where he plays him in this system, I don't know. May have to shuffle the deck a little bit to find a way to get him, but I think he's crucial to get back in. Maddison, we're not going to see all season. I think you need to get those 2 back before we can start actually going, okay, this is, because here's the conundrum, right? We're jumping at it now, and fair enough, people have their opinions, and I'm not disputing anyone's opinion. You're allowed it. I want to see how we attack when we have our better attackers on. As I said, we're missing 4? Is it 4? 4 key
5.
attackers, right? 5, right? So let's wait until we see those. And that's why I kind of sort of said this season, let's see how we progress. I think Chris made a point earlier, and a good point was, let's see how we dip into the market in January. And we need to get a bit more attacking strength. I think for me, I think there is a part of me that I can agree on the part of the design bit. Maybe it's on design, but is it on design because maybe he doesn't trust the attackers that we have at the moment? And I think Frank setting up his attacking lineup tells me he's not sure. Let's be fair. If he was comfortable with the attacking players that we have, you would see the same ones playing most weeks. The fact is 1 minute we're going, who's he going to play? 1 minute Richarlison's on the left. 1 minute he's up top. 1 minute Odeberg's playing. 1 minute Tell's playing. I don't think the manager knows the best attackers for his system. And I think that is ultimately come to the position where we're at, where trying not to lose might be the answer right this moment in time until we solve that situation. As I said, I think it's a waiting game. I remember having this conversation with a few mates of mine that were Brentford fans. They said at the start of it was, whoa, this guy, I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing. And they said after a year, you will start seeing the fruits of the labour. I just think we're a little bit impatient. I'm not saying anyone here isn't, but I think we are quite impatient because we want to see now, in the sense of the football's got to be perfect immediately. I just don't think we, at the moment, can do that with the lacking attacking quality and we have at the moment. I genuinely don't think we've got great quality in the attacking third at the moment.
That's the issue, Perch. You know, if at the moment, if you're looking at Spurs between now and the January window, which is all we can talk about because the window might bring new players, and hopefully Kulu, Frank said, should be back by the end of the year. But if you're looking at it for the next, what we've got, 8 games, is it 9 games? I think between now and the end of end of this year, you think that obviously Kudus is your showing on the right wing. Odeberg now is starting to make that position his own, and the centre forwards, you just don't know. You would think because there's a pecking order, because he's established, he'll keep Richie there. So
no, I think he goes Tell. I think he's got to play Tell at this point.
Maybe. Would you put? Listen, I'd start with Tell at the Emirates next week, whether he will or not.
I do think though the Emirates go. Contrary to what I've just said, I think against the Arsenal he'll go Richarlison, mainly because he'll want that physical presence there.
Yeah.
That'll be. By the way, not saying that Richarlison's a physical presence. I think he's as weak as shit. But I think he's one of those that will almost try and rattle a little bit. I don't agree with it, but
I looked it up. I looked it up just quickly, Perchy. It is completed through balls, and Brian Mbumo has as many completed through balls this season by himself than Tottenham, the entire Tottenham team.
Isn't that not the problem that we aren't making very good attacking runs though? I think it comes at. By the way, I don't if it's by design or if it's the quality of players not making necessarily those runs. I think that's the key. I think that's the question, right? It'd be interesting to see how many we've attempted and how many have failed, right?
Can I just add to that, actually? I've just looked that up as well, Sean, and the definition of that table, it's the exact same numbers, so it must be where it comes from. Completed pass sent between back defenders into open space. Whatever that means. But by the sounds of that definition, it's looking more from defence. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think that means? Completed pass sent between back defenders into open space.
Yeah.
Isn't that just two
Isn't that a progressive pass though? Because I've got Tottenham's. I've got Tottenham's progressive pass stats here. Right, check this out. Who do you think on a per 90 basis has the highest progressive pass? If people think that progressive passes are a problem at Tottenham, which they clearly are, who do you think has the per 90 basis the most progressive passes?
I mean, what's the definition though? Is it just anything that moves vaguely?
Romero.
Completed passes.
Christian Romero.
Completed passes that move forward.
Christian
I'll probably go Vicario.
On a per 90.
Vicario.
It's outfield players. Sorry, outfield players. It's your boy Archie Gray, Lubo. 8.75 progressive passes per 90, significantly higher than anybody else in the top league.
Statistical anomaly.
That's a statistical anomaly, though. You can't be using that. He's played how many games? One game?
I'm saying it's on a per 90 basis. I'm just saying per 90 basis.
If your data set is minute, you can't.
Yeah, exactly. That's ridiculous. You can't really. You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to hear the end of this from Lubo. What?
Honestly,
God.
Why would you drop that into this stream? Like, it's hard enough dealing with him on the group chat, let alone dealing live to the 389 people here. And are you liking? That's the question. Hit the like button. You absolute fraud.
I think Perchy, just to add, in the background while you guys have been talking, I've got a degree in stats, by the way. So I've been just having I love looking at numbers.
Of course you do, with all the other degrees in
I am that boring.
Everything else.
I am that boring, but I've just been playing with some of the numbers on FBref, and one that stood out for me is that Spurs have the most number in the league. If you rank them, we are top of the league for the number of times our players have miscontrolled a ball and lost possession, which possibly says something about our technical ability, I guess.
Should be, Chris, that just goes to show, doesn't it, that Gray should be playing a lot more.
Oh, Jesus.
Can you, Chris,
Chris,
can you do me a favour? Can you get that data for last season, please?
At the moment.
For last season, yeah, probably.
Yeah, show me for last season, because I've got a theory on this. I just need to prove it with your data.
Oh, yeah,
don't wait for me. Carry on talking.
No.
I need your data, though. Without your data.
Look, as I said,
Actually, just give me 1 second. Let me just catch up on one thing, guys. Dean Law, Houdini, big up to you, mate. He has started the super sticker train. We really appreciate you. Choo to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. The super sticker train has commenced, buddy. Appreciate your support. But guys, yeah, there's nearly 400 people here. All we ask is that you smash the like button. Apologies if there was some over talking in the first the entire show so far. We're trying to get on top of it, but please also hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and we can carry on. Sorry, Perch, you carry on, mate.
No. I just think at the moment, I think we need to. I think. Look, I don't disagree. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with this, but I think we just need to see how it plays out, right? I think we can micro-analyze every little statistical bit of data, and we can start delving into every little thing. Is it by design? Is it the players? Look, I think there's probably a combination of both. I think that's always normally the way. There's a pie of problems that we're trying to solve. It's never normally one issue. Look, I think we'll start seeing how we get on when we start getting better players. I think we need better attacking football players. And I think we will start naturally seeing us playing much better progressive football slowly through the progression of what we're doing. I think let's see how it unfolds. It'll be interesting to see how we do in the league. I think we will finish there or thereabouts this season. I think we will, as I've always said, we're going to finish anywhere between 4th and 8th in that sort of better than we'll be. Hopefully we can be better of the rest after the sort of top 3 would be lovely. I think we'll be there or thereabouts this season. And look, I think we just got to see how it goes. I'm also not one of these who sits there and says Frank can do no wrong against what other people would say. I don't. I just think that we've only just seen what we're getting. Look, it's not pretty on the eye immediately, but I think we are defensively better. Objectively, we are losing by stupid goals, loads and loads of goals this season. We're still making mistakes, by the way. We need to start weeding those mistakes off. I think there are a few more defensive errors that we are making.
Are we better? Are we as good as we were last season with the ball going forward, though, Perchy?
Going forward, no. I think you can tell we're not, but we haven't. And I'm not going to blame injuries for what you said, but when you have got players like Richarlison playing as your 9 consistently, that's got to be a question mark. That guy is awful. I think can we at least agree that Richarlison in front of goal?
He's our top goal scorer this year.
Huh?
Top goal scorer. 4 goals and 2 assists in 11 games.
No, hang on. Mickey's got 6, Sean.
No, in the Premier League, Richarlison's got 4 and 2 assists. 6 from 11. But if that carries on, that's a 20 GA a season, you know?
Just as long as he doesn't take his effing shirt off would be lovely. Bored of seeing that man with his shirt off, by the way. Honestly, what is he doing?
Oh, I agree with you, Perchi. I agree with you. He's absolutely terrible. Sorry, Stel.
Can I bring up Chris's stats, right? So Chris said this year, in fact, Chris, you read the stats and explain it, and I'll tell you why the stats are like this, because I know what's happened.
Yeah, so this season, we are top of the league for miscontrols by our players. So our players gone to control a ball and controlled it so badly that we've lost possession, right? We've had 199 times that's happened. So that averages out at 18.1 miscontrols a game. Last season, Stel, you asked me to get that. So we were 7th worst in the division. And the total number doesn't really mean a lot. But per game last season, we were 14.1. So we're miscontrolling the ball 4 times more. For context, if anyone's interested, Sunderland are currently the best this season with 11.5 a game miscontrols.
The reason we're worse this year is because under Ange, we primarily focused on passing drills. Pass. You are going to have better control of the ball if that's what you're training on. Under Frank, we don't train on that nowhere near the same. We train more on defending and being more attack-minded down the wings. So naturally, same group of players, you haven't really changed much of the skill set other than adding Kudus, Paulinho, Marani and Tell, but we've lost Werner, Son, and whoever else we sold. When you take the same squad, the reason we've got worse control this year is because we are not playing that passing game, which improves your touch. That's what's happened.
Still, last season we had Maddison, we had Kulu, and we had Archie Gray playing.
Maddison was injured a lot. Kulu was injured a lot.
No, Madison was only out at the end of the season, though, weren't he?
We had no Van der Ven and Romero for about 3 months. I mean, I'm just saying, both squads are roughly the same. For me, the drop-off is simple. The match is basically an extension of the practice. What you do in practice should be replicated on a match day. The drop-off the first touch of losing possession is because we don't train for possession-based football. That's what we did last year. That's Ange's philosophy. That's also why we were shit at defending, because we didn't practice any of that. We didn't practice any defending under Ange. So I bet you the defensive stats will show that we're much better this year if Chris looks up those.
Still, do you not think that a Premier League player, we're talking creme de la creme here, a Premier League player should be able to control the ball and pass it? But
if you don't practice what you're good at, you will drop off, no matter how good you are.
Yeah, I agree with Stel on that. I think when we talk about it just as Premier League football players as just inanimate robots, it doesn't actually work like that. I actually don't disagree with what Stel's saying here. That might be part of it. I don't think that's I think Stel's right.
Actually, it's why our defensive stats are better, because we're much more.
Hold on. Our defensive stats are better because we've got defenders playing in the back four. Last year we had 2. This year we had 4. Sorry, this year 4.
You can see we practice it. You can see we're more coached.
We're much more organised, and I don't actually disagree with our way of doing that. I think we had a team that was exposed defensively last season, and now we've got to actually start defending like a football team again. I think it's not. For me, I'm at this stage. If people want Frank out, I've seen so many people in the chat screaming. I'm like, relax. But he's going nowhere, right? I think the one thing I find funny, right, is are you Frank out? Are you Frank in? I don't think it matters. He's not going anywhere, right? He's not going anywhere. I just think we just need to see it play out, and I stand by that. I think let's just see how this plays out. By the way, I've always said if we're like this next season and we don't see that progression, then we're having conversation going, is this it? But Frank's a manager that will need time. It's not going to get it done overnight. We've not just dropped a manager into a team that is just all of a sudden going to be great. Right? We finished 17th in the league. We were crap last season. So it is going to take time. I think the one thing is I think what Stel is right. I think we do need to improve better passing. I think we need better passes on the ball. I don't think we've got many that are good passers in our team. Good players that put a foot on the ball and can pass it. I look and watch the likes of battleground, everyone's sort of screaming for them to start. I don't think they're very good on the ball. I'm watching some of their passing was awful recently. Sarr and Bergvall. You could probably throw in a few more in there. Those are the two I saw from midfield.
Yeah, but Perchi, until we sign better passes, the only way you get better at it is by practicing.
Yeah.
Until you sign these better players. Otherwise, don't play a passing game.
At
Just
least
don't
can't
play.
you at least see
I'd like to see our passing stats from last year, because we still had Sarr last year, we still had Bergvall last year, we still had Bentancur last year, and obviously Bissouma's not there right now. Because I don't think we are that bad at passing. I just think that I kind of agree with Stel. I think that we're clearly not practicing it. I think, Chris, you just put another stat in the chat there saying that we're top of the list, top of the league for tackles made. Last season we were 10th, right? So to me, I think there's a hell of a lot of statistical data to be able to suggest that we are focusing most of our time on the training ground. Not that we get too much of it, but I think we're spending a hell of a lot of time focusing on the defensive side, and it's fine. And I hear the argument that Tottenham need to fix the back line first, or fix the defense, become solid, become difficult to beat. That's cool. But at what point do we shift from that into something that we do more with the ball? Because we are regressing as a footballing team, in my opinion. And we were better at the start of the season when we still had the hangover from the hangover. But we now have we're now like 3 months. We're 3 months into Thomas Frank ball, and I think we're getting worse with the ball than we ever have been. So I'd like to know when the people are going to sit there and say, enough time is gone now that we can be starting to do things. We are solid at the back. We're better at the back. We all can all agree with that. At what point do we start to focus on moving the ball better?
That's right. Listen, for me, it comes down to players. Break it down. The average amount of minutes the ball is in play, I think, in a Premier League game is something like 44. I think. If we're around the
44.
Sorry,
minutes.
Chris.
It's a bit higher than that. I was reading about this yesterday. I think it's about 50.
Not
50
much
minutes.
higher.
It's not a lot.
I thought it was 60 minutes.
The ball is actually in play for 50 minutes. Yep.
One sec,
Chris, can you just do me one favour? Is there any chance that whilst you're sitting there, can you have a quick look at the comparative passing stats? Well, because we had essentially the same midfield last season as we do this season, right? So I'd love to just see whether or not our midfield passing stats were significantly better last season than they are this season.
Yeah,
because if they are, then again, people are making out like, and I see Danny Kiriakou, big up Danny, in the chat saying we're only going to get better when we get better players. Well, if we had better stats last year with the same or worse players, then that doesn't suit the argument, does it?
But we haven't shown because the main creation. No, but Maddison's missing, Kulu's missing, Solanke's missing. Solanke holds the ball up better than Richie, so we're worse off.
Yeah, but we've got Kudus, we've got Paulinho. They're better players than what we had last season.
And we have Xavi Simons.
Exactly. We've got a fit Van der Ven and a fit Romero.
Hang on, Danny, how is it ridiculous to sit there and compare last season's midfield with this season on the passing stat? And if the passing stats suggest that we were pretty good at passing last year, then that means that the players that we currently have are not that horrendous at passing. How is that a ridiculous concept? It feels like you are terrified that the data might suggest that your argument is a little bit silly. I don't know if it will. I really hope it does right now, because if it doesn't, I'm in the mud. But no. Chris is giving me the look.
I think you're fine, mate. I think you're fine.
No, but I think from what I saw, it'd be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see the stats. I think what we did were more progressive runs last season. Over maybe the passing might be higher, right? It'd be interesting to see. But I think last season, from what I saw last season, a lot of it was all about running the ball forward, getting that ball, traveling with the ball more than necessary passing. It'd be interesting. As I said, I don't know. That's only from what I can recollect from last season. It was all
Perky. We were a front-footed, all-out, guns-blazing attack. We were the Wild West. This year, we are far more controlled and far more defensive. It's that simple.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think you're right on that. But isn't it not that we can't just neglect the fact that we do need to organise first? I think the manager has come in and said, look, the one thing we can't be doing is conceding loads of goals. We've conceded far too many goals for a football team that we did last season. Whatever happened, we conceded far too many. And the manager's come in and, yeah, maybe it's gone too far. I think this is a question. I'll be interested to see what everyone else thinks was, do you think it's going to be like this in 3-4 months' time, drifting into the second half of the season? Because I don't think it will be once players have come back.
All right, so you look at the fixtures, look at the league fixtures between now and the end of the season. Arsenal, you expect to lose. Fulham, you expect to win. Newcastle away, defeat. Brentford at home, you think would win. Forest at home, Forest away rather. Forest away, maybe a draw. Liverpool at home, you'd lose. Then you got Palace and Brentford away. So it's going to be a real mix of results between now and the end of the season.
I think what you'll see there is you'll see the way. Look, I think we will win. I think we'll win those games. The Fulhams. Look, by the way, I had this argument still. You know exactly what's going to be said. But even like Newcastle, I think it's one of the key ones. Everyone tells me how great they are away, how great they are like at Newcastle. Statistically, they're not. 1-3 lost 2 right at home. They're not amazing at home like that. Everyone's making out. They're not this.
We're not good there.
No, I agree. Ironically, we're good away from home, right? So in a weird way, I have a weird feeling we might get a result there. But look, it's equally one of those though. Like I think,
Someone clip that.
Yeah, clip that.
1 hour 30 seconds.
Yeah, clip it. It's fine. I do the clipping. So you lot too lazy to do it. So I'll clip it. And if it doesn't happen, it's getting deleted. So it's all good.
Date today, 13.
I think Chris has got an update to smash Danny Kiriaku's argument.
It's Chris.
I listen, I'm not smashing anyone. I'm just giving you stat data, right? You can smash whoever you want to. Okay, so this season, on average, we attempt 483.5 passes a game, and we complete 388 of those. Last season, we were attempting 525 a game, and we completed 434. So we were completing roughly 55, 60 extra passes a game last season. And we had a slightly higher success rate as well. So
that backs my theory.
And it nails Danny Kiriaku. Nails him, bro. Nails him, Kiriaku.
What it does say, though, ironically,
big up, Chris.
The successful rate isn't massively higher than last. Like, my point is the successful passes, we weren't massively out. Compared to
2.5% is quite a big deal, mate. When it's
is it though?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You're just saying it is. Is that how it is? It's the Sean's world. It is.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So we've lost the ball on average 95 times every match, Chris. Is that this season?
Yeah, that's pretty similar to last season, actually. Though I think, isn't it, roughly 90-ish last season? So yeah. That's from passing, by the way. Also, add in that we're miscontrolling the ball more than any other team, so we're losing the ball from that as well. So your miscontrols are not in your failed passes here.
And it's a good question from George in the chat. What direction did the passes go in?
Doesn't matter. A touch is a touch. Control is control.
All right.
Yeah. These are all passes.
That's you know what, George? That's the most ridiculous thing to put in the comments. That's like saying. That's like saying. Yeah, go on.
If Vicario's got the ball and he passes square to Mickey or QC, then he can do that 30 times a game. And that just
but is it not? Is it not more likely?
Yeah, but you're passing the ball more because that's the point. You're passing it more because you're playing possession-based football. That's why.
Is it not also more likely that Tottenham Hotspur last season were doing more progressive passes, trying to feed the ball up to the top than we are this season? I would imagine if we were to analyse and go into the rabbit hole on that particular stat, I'm sure you would find more horizontal, more sideways, more pass backs this season than you did under Ange Postecoglou because of his natural intention to move forward. So I would say that, and obviously I don't know that for a fact, but on that presumption, then not only are the stats, we're attempting more, we're completing more at a higher percentage rate, and we're probably being more aggressive last season than we are this season. So this narrative that our passing only gets better with better players, it statistically isn't true. Statistically, our improvements, we could have the same improvements as we had last season if we were just designing our football a little bit differently.
Well, you look at it, Sean, and you've got to say that we played a higher line last season. We played more in the opposition's half. and we got caught. But it's right. Backward passes, virtually 100% success rate. Square passes along the back four, virtually, unless you're just not looking and you've hit a blind pass and the opposition's lurking behind, it's 100% virtually. So for us, it's a problem because the ball's going upfield and we're losing it upfield. And Kudus holds on to it brilliantly. Take him out. If you took his stats out, then these stats would look much, much worse.
I think he loses the ball a lot. He's quite a greedy player, though. I think he actually loses the ball quite a bit. Kudus.
Yeah, look,
he over-dribbles. He over-dribbles.
Yeah, but you could argue, though, maybe he's at a position where he's going, well, I might as well try and take players on because I've got no running in those. So it goes a bit. I like Kudus. I think he's quality. I think he's probably one of the big successes at the moment. I think there's people kind of digging out a lot of what he does, but I think what we see with him is he is trying to open up stuff, right?
Do you know what a knife edge we're on at the moment? The next two games, let's say we get a draw at Arsenal, we beat Fulham, we could be top 3 very easily. Top 3, maybe second. If we lose to Arsenal, draw to Fulham, we're like 11th in the league. That's the swing. We're sitting right on that pendulum, right on the fulcrum.
So
look at that. I think Perchie said earlier, are we above? We're above Bournemouth, aren't we now? You're right. We're 4 or 5 places ahead of him. The difference is we're on the same amount of points. It's just literally a goal difference. That's how tight the league is. From second to from third to 10th is 3 points.
Makes my point about us not being widely open and getting battered every week and only losing by 1 goal. That's why our goal difference.
But we do get battered.
It also means if we were to have a little bit more risk, we might be on, and we were to go rather than going for a draw. If we were actually to go for a win, a loss or a win, then we could have 9 more points, or we could have 3 fewer points.
Yeah, but
be on 15, or be on 27.
Your argument is always draws don't matter, but we don't get those 3 draws and we lose those games because you want us to go gung-ho and chaotic.
On that scenario, we're down to 15.
Those three games put us in the bottom half. Those 3 games put us in the bottom half.
In that scenario, we're on 15 points. But if we go for those games and we go for those draws and we actually win the game, then we're on 27 points.
Can I ask you a question?
The irony is though that late goal, by the way. Sorry, I'll jump in. But that late goal by Man United in the end is the difference from us being 3rd in the league. And if we're talking do you know what I mean? As you say, swings and roundabouts. That we defend that corner and don't fall asleep for that corner in the day. That's the difference from us being 5th and 3rd. Would we be sitting there, sat 3rd in the league, sitting there going?
Yeah, but that's like saying comeback against Brighton when we were 2-0 down. If we didn't make that comeback,
no. Of course, that's what I said. If buts babies, right? If Miani had a dick, should be my uncle kind of crap. Like, of course, all that shit. But no, my point is though, we are at a position where I know what we do a lot. Is we're so Spurs analytical, and I get it. We're Spurs fans. We will be. I don't think this football league is as good as everyone keeps telling me about how great the Premier League is. I don't think it's as good as everyone is. I think everyone's about the same. Look how many teams are in that same boat of points. Everyone's about the same. There's no real, apart from Arsenal, people hate to say it, are the only ones that you go, yeah, you guys are in control at the moment.
Am I right in saying that the Premier League teams are the best performing teams in the Champions League? We've got more teams in the top 10 than any other league in Europe.
Yeah, crappy old Tottenham, as everyone keeps saying, haven't lost there yet. So it's all good, isn't it? Little old Tottenham.
Perchie, can I ask you a question? Because you said about being wide open and crazy and gung-ho. Do you think it's possible with the current players we've got to still be defensively savvy, but throw more caution to the wind in the attack? Do you think there's a better balance that can be struck with the current players? That's a question for all of you. I know Sean's answering it. But
I think that's a fair argument. I think it's a fair argument in the sense of I think there are moments that you can. I think what we're seeing at the moment is we are probably seeing the more pragmatic style of it all at the moment. So yeah, look, I think the argument will always come. And I think still you'll agree with me on this part. I think if we start losing week in, week out, consistently every week playing like this, you're starting to go, well, hang on, what is going on? We're not at the moment. Yeah, I know Sean's argument is about draw is as much of a loss as possible, but we aren't losing week in, week out. I think you'll see this against Arsenal. We're going to sit in against Arsenal. I think we all probably would expect us to. Then after what I would say after the PSG game, we've got Arsenal, then PSG. I think after those two teams, you then start looking, going, well, Fulham, then you've got Slavia Prague in the middle of all that somewhere. We've got Newcastle. I think Brentford's in the middle. I think Lubo read them all out a minute earlier. So I think after the next two games, I'm including the Champions League games in this, I think you're going to start seeing. I think you're going to have to see a little bit more. I think you're going to see a little bit more when it comes to when Kulu comes back. I think that's going to be such an important one. I think we're going to see a little bit more when Kulu comes back, is my opinion. Look, clip that, as Stel would like to say, clip that, and we'll see how it goes. But
you guys all said Kulu was average. Now he's suddenly the
I don't think Kulu's the best in it. What I do say though, what Kulu is good at though, what I will say, ironically, I think Kulu's better in a system that we're playing right now than he did when he was under Ange, in the sense of I think Kulu's better on the ball. He's a better technical football player.
Where would you play Kulu in Frank's system then?
It's a good question, actually, because I thought, do you play him out on the left? He doesn't really play there. Do you play him down the middle and then put Simmons out on the left? I think it's a good question. I'm not 100% sure where you put him. Do you have a way where you play maybe Kudus, Simmons, and Kulu, Kudus, and Simmons, and have some sort of almost three quite narrow 10s that can kind of alternate, something like that? It's a good question. I'm not 100% sure where you put him. Maybe put him in the 10 and push Simmons out on the left, maybe.
I remember the game.
Simmons isn't very good on the wide areas, I don't think.
Still, in Conte's first season, I remember we went to Villa Park, I think it was April, we won 4-0, and Kulu played out left, scored a lovely goal. I don't know if anyone remembers, smashing goal from the left-hand side. I think the guy is fairly versatile. It's interesting because
we didn't play 4-3-3 though.
Well, Conte, with Conte's team that finished fourth in the table, we were scoring goals for fun.
I know, but we didn't play 4-3-3 when Kulu was in that position.
Maybe he'll change it. Maybe when he gets players back, maybe he'll be more, more adapting with systems.
Is there an argument? Is there an argument to say you'd put someone like Kulu in the 9? And play him more like one of those.
As a false 9. You could play him as a false 9.
He did play there.
All of our players are false 9s.
Yeah, true.
I don't think we should be playing a 4-3-3. I don't think we've got the squad or players to do it even when they're
4-2-3-1 though, don't we?
I think a 3-5-2, a 4-2-2-2. I think we should be playing with 2 10s, and one can pivot into the 8, into the 10. I think we should be playing with 2 10s. I think we should play with 2 forwards as well. I think we should play with 2 forwards, not 1.
We don't have the players for that right now, though, do we? For 2 10s.
Yeah, that's.
Would you play
when the squad's fit?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Not now. Yeah, no, not now, Chris. No, not now.
We were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Sean? The team is built for a 3-5-2, or 3 at the back with Poro and Udogie as wing backs. For me,
I think so. I think that when you've got options in the defensive line, I think you can play. Romero can play in the middle and then drift into the DM role. He can be the progressing passer. Mickey van der Ven can have more license to carry the ball because he knows he's got support behind him if he does get picked off, which he can't do really. And we saw against Chelsea, he got picked off trying it. He tried it against United and he almost got picked off and got us in trouble. And so those things don't work if you're playing a back 4. Much easier to achieve if you're doing a back 3. And obviously it goes without saying that Udogie and Poro will probably benefit from a wing back system as well.
Because we only have 2 out and out fullbacks. and one is Spencer and one is Ben Davis, who shouldn't be anywhere near the first team. Porro and Udogie are wing-backs, not full-backs. So, and they're the guys, they're two of the three that are playing every week. So for me, you're right. You play Danso on the right of Romero and Mickey on the left.
Just super quick, guys. Let me quickly do a couple of super chats and then we'll get back into it. Big up to you, George. Super Cup Legends. Choo-choo to you with the super sticker. Choo-choo to you, Georgie. Appreciate you very much indeed. And Adam Horlock, seeing your name everywhere, mate. Thank you so much again for your support. As always, buddy. Top man. Thank you, mate. Appreciate your support, guys. The super sticker train is still open for the next 15 or so minutes. Oh, look, we've got someone. I don't know who this person is, but someone's at the door. Who could it be? Who could it? It's the man who rates himself a statistician. We're going to find out what he's got to say right now.
How you doing, boys?
Look what the cat dragged.
Just before you mud yourself, Danny, Chris had some additional stats that he wanted to drop, and I think it might be pertinent. Chris, is that right?
Yeah, one of them actually. Yeah, I need to adjust it. Yeah, look, I'm just giving the numbers. You guys can do the context. I don't really care. I think this just verifies what everybody would think, I would imagine. So if you break down how we pass the ball in terms of short, medium and long passes, I can get the yardage if you want, but let's just go with that. So this season, we're doing a lot fewer short passes, which is what you'd expect, right? So we're 40.5%, 49% pretty much for sort of middle range passes and 9% long passes. Let me rephrase that, long passes. Last season, that's actually higher than the one I put in the chat. It's like 46% roughly short passes. So we're playing sort of 5 to 6% more short passes last season. And then we were playing sort of less than 7% long passes. I don't think that's anything revolutionary, right? I think if we'd have guessed the numbers, we probably would have come up with something broadly along those lines.
But clearly last season with the same players or weaker players, we actually were a better passing team than we are this year. So Danny's argument that nothing improves until the players change is well and truly debunked. Hi, Danny. How are you?
No, that's not true. That's not true because look, what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is, of course, when you have better players who are technically better, you're going to have a better outlay when you're playing attacking football. They can control a football more, right? What the stat is why it's so funny is because if you look at last season, Chelsea were the best team in the league at controlling a football. Man City were next, Arsenal were next, and then Southampton were fourth in the league, right? They finished bottom of the Premier League table. Now, if we actually look at some of the other stats, right, there's probably reasons why they finished at the bottom of the table. But what's a really interesting take here is that Liverpool finished 8th and we finished 7th in the amount of times. Well, the team that finished in the chart of who lost the ball the most, right? Liverpool were and they won the title, right? So there's got to be some kind of context for the way that. Yes, Frank is setting up in a way more pragmatic way, of course, right? But why he's doing that is the most important reason. Because last season, these fucking players we finished 17th. Because when Aaron was playing that gung-ho football, right, we weren't even one of the best scorers in the league. But we were leaking goals every single game. Every single Spurs fan, I remember last season, was moaning about how much they want Ange out, how much they want to change the style of play. And so many of people said, "Oh, we would. I want to see. I want to see." Yeah, no, Stell was one of them. People were saying that. They want to see. They don't mind if we win games. We just want to see us winning games, or we just want to see better, not getting battered every week. That's basically what we're doing. We're not getting battered every week.
No, we lost to Newcastle. We're at the cup.
But still, we're not getting battered every week, and we still got the majority of the same players from last season.
I said I accept losses. Sorry, I accept bad football if we win, not crashing out of Carabao Cups, not getting absolutely torn a new one by Chelsea. That's unacceptable.
You're making it
sound Newcastle at home, and we were really pretty decent in that game.
I thought we had
there as well.
We lost the game then.
Yeah, okay, but it's Newcastle at home still. Newcastle, one of the best teams in the league, with some of the best players in the league.
That's not the point. I'm only accepting crap football if we don't lose. If we lose, the
Yeah, but
football
how
being
can you
played is
expect
unacceptable.
better when you've got the players that you keep moaning about, like the Tells and the Richarlisons who can't control the fucking football?
Well, they controlled it against Man City and PSG.
Oh, one-off game. Man City, we have their number, man.
Two
Man
games.
City, we beat them every single year.
Everton away, West Ham
Well,
away.
Nuno Espirito Santo beat Man City. We always beat Man City. We've got their number.
It was
in
good though. We
history.
played very well in that game. We played really well. In that
okay,
game.
but we always seem to play well against Man City every single season. We battered them with
That's
Ange 4-0. So I don't know where this argument comes from.
The same players that Frank's got and Andrew's players.
But look at how we played in that game. We didn't play Ange's philosophy. So you're taking it out of context again. In that one game against Man City,
I don't believe that the football we're playing is this shit simply because the players are crap. I think
it's a bit of both, right?
But I think it's
a bit of both, Danny. I agree.
It's a bit of both, right? But the thing is,
who's
what
crap?
I've seen,
Who's apart from Richarlison, who is crap in our team?
Johnson.
Solanke, Johnson, Tell,
He's not crap.
Odebear. Yeah, he is. He's average. He's a bang average footballer. He's not good, Sean. Let's be honest. Sean, in what team does Solanke get in? Hold on. In what team does Solanke get in the teams that we are competing with for the places that we want to be? The Newcastle, Arsenal's, Chelsea's, Man City's, Man United. In what team does Solanke get in there?
I think he gets ahead of Man. He gets ahead of Sesko. I think he gets ahead of Wissa. I think he gets ahead of Liam.
He gets ahead of Vissa. No way. No way. Everyone was crying out for Vissa.
Can I just ask? I think the term.
This is a good player. I'm not saying this is not a good player, but I think Solanke's a very good player. So like, I'm not on this.
Solanke's all right.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't think. I think the argument is I don't think we have, as I said, I don't think we have crap football players. I don't think we have amazing football players. I think when we use the term crap, actually. No, I don't think we've got crap football players, but equally don't think that we've got.
All I heard last season was that our attack was a bottom of the league level attack. Or
no, I don't agree with that. But I didn't agree with that either.
I do because what I see is dog shit.
No, I don't think he's not dog shit, but he's
the ball goes to our attackers and none of them can control
Daddy, one at a time. Let Percy finish.
No, can I just? I didn't think we were on friendly fire. I thought you were coming in to help me out here. Now I'm battling with Danny Kiriakou. It's all fun and games. No, but like I thought he came into the
blue on blue.
Equally, like I don't think we've got. As I said, I don't think Solanke's crap. I just don't think he's amazing. I think there's the terminology. I think when we're saying crap, we're basically saying,
he's an average footballer, Percy. He's
average. Average is fair. I'll take average, but I don't think we've got. As I said, I don't think we've got awfully terrible football players. I equally don't think we have an amazing football squad. I think we're good enough to where we are. I think Solanke's all right. I look at Johnson. I go technically, nah. Nothing special. Scores a couple of tap-ins. He's all right. As I said, I think again, Odebear for me. I know Sean will. What is happening to Sean's camera, by the way? It's gone all weird. No, I think the players like Odebear for me. Odebear's all right. He runs about a bit. I think the worry for me doesn't take anyone on. Tell for me scored a lovely goal, but again. Nothing makes me go, you're a top football player.
The problem is, Percy, these players are young. They're not ready for what we need right now. We need Kudus level players across our front line. We need a Kudus level player on the left. We need a Kudus level player up top. And we need Xavi Simons getting into the groove of things. Because as soon as he has better players around him, that team is going to tick a lot more than we're seeing now.
Would you argue, Danny, though, that if once injuries succumb in the likes of James Maddison and Kulusevski, we probably do have that, no?
Not enough. It's not enough. We don't have a left winger. We don't have.
Yeah, I think the left wing is a fair point.
Johnson might be okay as a backup player, like as a rotation player, but if not, to be honest, I don't even want him in the squad. I want him gone. Like we need two number 8s who can actually play the ball forward. All of you guys have all talked about it for weeks and months. We all need the players like Angelo Stillers. We need these type of Ruben Neveses. We need two players like that because we do not have players in the squad that can progress the ball enough, right? That's the problem we have at this club. And the midfield is not connecting with the attack. And the attack is not good enough to control the ball. So that's why we're breaking down when we attack. That's why we're not taking chances. That's why we're not, well, in terms of the attackers, that's why the attackers are not scoring the goals that they need to score, because they're not good enough, right? You put better players in those positions, I guarantee you're going to see a way better than what we're seeing right now.
More chances.
Yeah, but to do that still, you need better players who are going to give those players the chances.
Or you play more attacking football.
So you're telling me the players that line up week in, week out this season, except Kudus, are good enough, right, to create the chances that we need to compete at the level we want to compete at.
I can't answer that until the manager tactically sets us up.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, people, we need to give it. This for me, this is a write-off season. Like,
Danny,
I don't care where we finish this season.
Danny, you might be
I
right.
really don't care.
Danny, you might be right on this. Until the manager sets us up in a more attacking way, it's impossible to know.
But still, you say set up in an attacking way. If we do that, we're going to start conceding goals like we were last season. We've already seen it this season.
Not necessarily.
You can attack without having everyone on the halfway line.
I'm sorry, but this team has proven to us that we concede goals if we don't heavily focus on the defensive side of the game.
No, hang on a second. No one's making the argument
because their players are confident and they don't know how to control a blind football.
I think Sunderland.
So Sunderland have got better players than Tottenham.
No, I think Sunderland.
They are playing with confidence in their belief in how they're playing their football, right?
So it's not about talent. It's not about players. It's not about new players. Then it's about just the mindset. You're moving your goalpost, Danny. You're moving yourself here.
It's not, Sean. It's not, because our players are not good enough to beat this football club. That's the fucking truth. They're not.
Sunderland's players are better than
Sunderland's players are playing for the badge. The Spurs players are not. That's a difference.
Sunderland's a bad example. Sunderland's a bad example. Let's be fair with it, right? I think we're going to. Sunderland are going to.
So Danny's saying they're not playing for the badge. Lugo says they're lazy. How the fuck are we?
They are lazy. What I've seen this season. Our players are absolute diabolical in the when our attackers are.
We've got lazy players who aren't confident, but we're fifth.
Yeah,
but that's why I'm saying wait till you get better players, because it's going to be even better.
If we have lazy, Danny, wait.
Mentality is not right. You're kind of all over the place.
If we have lazy players that are also lacking confidence, that also aren't good enough.
Whoa!
How the fuck are we fifth? How the fuck are we fifth? Maybe if they're lazy, and maybe if they're lazy, I'm not finished yet. Maybe if they're, let me just carry on mudding your point. Maybe if they're lazy,
you're not listening.
Oh, I am. You keep changing the goalposts. A minute ago they weren't good enough. Now
it's context. Football doesn't work with one good thing or one bad thing. It's multiple things, right? It's a team cohesion. It's everyone following the same path. The reason why we're playing the way that we are is because he's focusing on our best attribute of our team, which is our defense. Right? Why is it Van der Ven has scored 6 goals? He's our top scorer. Why?
If we're lazy and we lack confidence, how the fuck did we win the Europa Cup?
Hang on. I don't think it's about that. I think Danny.
That's irrelevant.
No.
Danny,
that's irrelevant. We're not talking about Ange now. We're talking about this season.
Champions. Are we doing this?
Yeah, but we're talking about this season.
Yeah, but
we're
Danny,
talking about this season.
Yeah, but Danny, I think
everyone slated the team that Ange had.
Still, can I just land my point? I think, Danny, the point what's being mentioned here, I think this is where people are turning you into a pretzel, my man. You're a beautiful pretzel, but you are being pretzeled, unfortunately.
How?
Because your argument is we need better players, but then it's we lack confidence and we're lazy. If we're lazy and we don't
everything.
Let me just finish my point. One second.
You're not listening.
No, but listen. Do
you know what? I'm going to speak slower. I'm going to speak slower so you.
Yeah, thank you. No, my point is, Danny, I don't actually disagree with it. I disagree with half, and I agree with some of it. I think we do need better football players, but the problem is when you say we're lacking confidence and we're not working hard enough,
and we don't play for the badge,
and we're fifth in the league, you're saying we have got good enough players. We have got good enough players, but they're just not working hard enough.
Right.
But then you can't then say you then can't say oh, we need better players. So either the players are working to the level of what they are, or they're not.
I have to be unmuted.
No, you're unmuted. You're unmuted. You go on.
Right.
So I've got muted as well, Danny.
Why is it? We are
only for the benefit of the
good,
chat,
right?
I'm happy to see drama, but the chat needs to hear one person at a time.
Why is it? I get it. Why is it that we are defensively very, very good this season, right? And that our top scorer is a centre back, right? Why is that? Because Frank has focused so much on the defense. He's improved it as a unit, as a whole, right? Even Van de Ven, he's changed his game a bit, right? And you can see it, right? Frank has done that, right?
And we focus on set pieces.
The problem is he's focusing on that because, in my opinion, he does not trust the attackers we have. Why do you think he brought in Kudus? Why? Because Kudus is an elite winger compared to the players that we have. There's a reason why he's focusing on that. Because, in my opinion, if Frank focuses on a team being more attacking, we are going to open up more and we are going to concede more goals. That is why I think he's playing the way he is. Which is why, until we get better quality players, he is not going to open up the team more to actually give us a better chance attacking in an attacking sense.
Danny, but as I said earlier, and I think that most people can agree, that people who make that argument are saying that it's one or the other. It's Bonnie Blue FC or it's Mother Teresa. There is a happy medium where you can throw a little bit more caution to the wind, where you can allow one of the midfielders or a fullback to invert. You can allow someone to progress the ball past Xavi Simons. And at the moment, he isn't doing it. And it might be because he doesn't trust the players. It might be because the players are disregarding his tactics. Either or, both are pretty scary to me. But the notion that there isn't a middle ground between all-out attack that leaves us wide open at the back and doing what we're doing at the moment, which is Mother Teresa FC, we are essentially parking the bus.
Right. Because let me ask you a question, right? Why is it that Frank wanted to bring in Morgan Gibbs-White this season?
Yeah,
we know, but Danny, we know this.
No,
we all know that we're short of an 8, we're short of a 10 at the moment, we're short of a left winger, we're short of a centre forward.
Lubo, it goes back to what you were saying as well earlier, and what I'm trying to say is that I believe he does not trust that team enough in an attacking sense, right? Which is because at this moment, the amount of times I've seen us play this season, the only time we played better football is when we're behind and we want to try and chase the game, right? Because he goes more attacking, right? But at the same time, right? But we cannot sustain that. If we
play that out.
Yeah,
we're 2-0 down against Brighton. We take the handbrake off. We don't concede any more goals.
Yeah,
and we go and score 2.
With these players, Sean, with these players, in my opinion, I don't think Frank believes they're sustainable. That is not sustainable.
You think that Leeds United, you think that Sunderland, you think that Burnley, these teams that have not got that fewer points than us, right? You think that these teams have got better players than Tottenham Hotspur?
It's not sustainable, Sean. The Sunderland are going to fall off. They ain't going to stay there, right?
But until now, they have managed to play.
Yeah, because they haven't got Champions League football to manage as well. They're not playing in Europe like we are. They don't have the injuries that we have. They've got a core team they've come up to the Premier League. So there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of belief in them. And there's a togetherness in them. We don't have that yet. Not yet, because the team is not gelling as the way we want it to, because they're not used to how Frank wants them to play.
All right. Okay. What about Crystal Palace? What about Crystal Palace? They've lost fewer games than us. They've got European
football. They've got a really good manager. He's a better manager. That's who I wanted. No, but you're not listening again. You're not listening again. You're seriously not listening. That doesn't mean Frank's a bad manager. It doesn't mean he's a bad manager. That's what you're not listening.
It's a good point. I've got to say, guys.
You're not listening again.
Oh, Luke, I don't.
I'm listening.
There's a good point. Hang on. Let me try and find it. There was a very good point.
Why should you do
that? That was crazy.
No, I think.
How is it crazy? How's it crazy?
Danny,
How's it crazy?
Because you basically said if we had a better manager, we'd be playing better.
Hang
No,
on.
I don't.
No,
I don't.
no, I didn't say that. Don't fucking try and take that out of my mouth.
What's
I never said that. I just said, right, that if we had a better manager, yes. Oh my god. Red cards don't do
Abusive
it.
language, that, Danny.
No, but
Danny,
Someone's
Danny.
screaming.
Glasner's, how long has Glasner been there for, and how long has Frank been?
yeah,
there?
this is exactly it.
You know,
Exactly it. But the thing is,
we're missing
Lubo,
these. Danny,
right?
hang on. We're
Go on.
missing these obvious basic.
Glasner lost Eze and Elise.
But still, he's been there for years.
Yeah, he's been there. He's been there.
I
How
thought,
long
I
Frank
thought
been
better
there? Still?
players, but I thought better players. He's lost his two best players.
So
Yeah, but you have to give Frank time to build something. Frank, every club Frank's been to, yeah, the first 10, 20 games, first 10 to 15 games in his tenure, it's his building blocks. He's trying to build a foundation of his team. He's never historically done well. So why are we all expecting to be doing better than where we are with what we have? It doesn't make any sense. I believe Frank right now is absolutely working miracles with what he's got.
We are overachieving.
It's just the style of football. That's the only question. It's the style.
Yeah, but you can't have both right now.
Still,
we can have better though. We can have better. I believe we can have better.
Maybe a little bit, but not a lot, because until we have better players, we won't know if Frank can, if Frank's vision of what he sees Tottenham.
Yeah, but until he takes the handbrakes off with these players, we won't know either though. It's both, isn't it?
Super quick. Perchy's got to jump. We were supposed to wrap this up 6 minutes ago. We completely overran. Perchy, thank you so much for coming on, mate. And
absolutely, Danny, my man. I got your point, but I think you've given these two of all people the ammunition. But I'll leave it at
Perchy, there's no ammunition because they're
No,
not
but Danny,
they're not taking the words that are coming out of my mouth. They're not
we got him.
Danny, you've tripped up and dived more than Richarlison does. Anyway, much love. Thanks for having me on, guys. And guys in the chat, come on, look, it's all good fun. These guys put on a good show. Peace out, man. Bye.
Cheers, Perch. Love you, mate. Take care, buddy.
Perchy.
See you, Perchy.
Yeah, sorry, Danny. You wanted to come on. You wanted to come on, cook me. All you've done is cook yourself, bro. You burnt yourself on the stove.
I haven't cooked myself because you're not listening. You are assuming what's coming out of my mouth, and you're not actually listening. Because I never once said Frank's a shit manager. Never. I think he's doing unbelievably well at Spurs with what he's got. I'm actually surprised where we are in the table with what he's got and the fact that he hasn't lost a Champions League game. So the fact that all of you sit here and think that we can be doing better than where we are is delusional. I think you're all deluded.
No, we're doing far better than we should be doing. And as Chris already pulled that one
why
up,
are you complaining?
Because we shouldn't be where we are in the league.
Why?
Because Chris has already shown the stats on that.
No. Why should we be doing better, Sean? I don't care about
we're overachieving, Danny.
We're
overachieving.
Yeah, we're overachieving. So why is it that everyone is thinking that we should be doing better than what we are or playing a better brand of football if we are overachieving?
I'm saying that the table is a false position and that people that are defending Thomas Frank are saying, look at the table, look how we're doing. And I'm saying it's a false position.
I make one point on that. I think Danny's going to agree with me. I don't like that. I'm very much a defender of Frank, and largely I agree with the point Danny's making. But I think the people who predicate that defence on where we are in the league is a nonsense, because I don't think we'll stay there. But I don't think it undermines the argument. I still think the argument is correct, even if we were 12th right now. So I call that out a little bit when people who've got the similar view say, yeah, but we're 5th. Well, we probably won't be, because 2 of our next 3 games are Newcastle away and Arsenal away, right? So I think even Danny would probably accept.
We will be bottom half of the table in all likelihood by the time December starts.
Perchy said we're
beating
Newcastle.
The point.
He said we're beating Newcastle.
No, I agree with
it does negate part of the defensive mechanism.
It all goes.
It does negate part of the defense that people who are saying that Frank can do no wrong, or Frank deserves less criticism than he's getting. Part of their argument is look at the table.
And an argument of convenience right now that won't be there in a few weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I never said there's things that we can't discuss about the things he's doing wrong, because he is doing things wrong. But the problem is, like Chris said, right? For me, this season has always been a write-off season because Daniel Levy has left the club, and I want to see what the club are going to do to actually. Are they going to talk the talk, or are they going to walk the walk? Basically, are they going to just talk rubbish like they always have done
this
for the
is
last
why we got to
25
wait
years?
till the 1st of September.
But this is why, Stel, I don't understand Spurs fans getting so overreactionary when it comes to the way we're playing football. It's madness.
Because it can be better with the players we've got. It can be better, that's why.
Yeah, it's so overreactionary that a lot of people are saying Frank out and people are moaning and complaining.
Yeah, that's crazy as well. Anyone
moaning and complaining.
No, I'm not Frank.
What do you want? Can I ask a question, guys? Can I ask a question? What do fans want? Do they want to see the team do well results-wise? Or is it just about performances?
Well, they booed Conte out of the club because it wasn't pretty.
I want to see
No,
performances.
Stel, we finished 17th. We were losing every week. That was the difference.
Yeah.
I said Conte.
Sorry, Conte. Sorry,
We booed Conte out because the football was turgid.
We had Harry Kane's son.
Conte sacked himself with that.
We also had Højbjerg, Winks and Skip in midfield with long leg Dyer.
But we had Harry
Chipping
Kane's
out.
son. Two of the best attackers on the planet at the time.
We had the worst defenders and worst midfielders. It negates.
Well, we didn't have the worst.
Conte wasn't
defenders.
hounded out by the fans. Conte sacked himself. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, because the fans didn't want him here anymore. He's like, fuck.
No, he went crazy because of the Pape Sarr handball that was a dodgy decision that meant that we drew the game into away.
He was already
he's a lunatic. Everywhere he goes, he comes in, he demands things from the ownership that they can't give him, and then he erupts. Or the teams that do give him the money end up, after he's fucked off, they end up getting into financial meltdown mode.
Yeah,
it's happened like 3 or 4.
But he also wins trophies, and he kept us in the top 4 the whole time. So
a trophy is momentary. The financial ramifications of his demands can last for about a decade. Just ask Como.
Listen, we could do the finance trophy argument, but the point is, most fans wanted him out because the football was shit. I remember it. He's stubborn. He doesn't change it. The football's turgid. So to answer Luke, because Luke was saying, what do fans want? I'm saying when the football was shit, they wanted the manager out. Even under Mourinho, fans were going ballistic. We went 1-0 up against Wolves and we sat back for 80 minutes. Fans were going mental over that shit.
Yeah.
So which is why
I said, Stel, we have to give Frank time because
it's not okay to play shit football. It's never okay to play shit football unless you're winning every week.
But he cannot play fantastic football with the players he's got. He can't.
We never play good. When do we play good then?
The last time we played fantastic football, right, was under Poch. And why? Because we had one of the best first 11s in Europe.
Mate, Ange's first 10 games were brilliant to watch at times.
Yeah, first 10 games. I'm talking about a whole tenure. Right, or 2 or 3 years of. You're talking about sustained football.
We haven't had 2 or 3 years of tenure under any other manager since Poch.
Yeah,
very few teams do.
Because of how bad it's been, right? Because we haven't had.
No, how bad it's been. Very few teams have managers that last more than a year and a half. Danny.
But why?
Because of impatience of fans. Because of the money. Because
also because we weren't buying quality players. We weren't buying quality to add to Harry Kane and Son. We were buying crap. That's why. So you can't have everything you want. You can't have us competing in 4 competitions.
But Danny, here's my point. With that crap, Conte got 4th and stayed 4th. With that crap, Mourinho got to a cup final. With that crap, Ange won. He got 5th in his first season, and we won a Europa Cup. So, and the football. So Frank, either this season for me. He's got to do something where we say, wow, that was really good, like finish top 5 or get to a cup final. What he can't do this season is for us to finish kind of mid-table. If he does, that's a massive drop-off of what previous managers have done with shit squads.
Buying new players can't always be the solution, Danny. It can't always be the problem. The players can't always be the problem, and the solution can't always be better players.
Buying new players, quality players, is not the solution. So
the players can't always be the problem, and the solution can't always be we're not spending enough money.
Sean,
we have to pay a lot of money to get blood from a stone at times. They have to do it.
Yeah, but
and by the way,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, but Sean, you talk about the finances, right?
Point, bro.
Sorry, go on.
15 out of the last 17. Sound like Sava. Can anybody let me finish? 15 of the last 17 seasons, we have been in European football.
Yeah, but you talk about the finances, right? And I always like when you speak about the finances, but the problem is you're caring about the ticket prices because you're a customer, right? But the club don't give a shit about what we pay. They don't care, right? So if we are paying these high ticket prices, as you're talking about, we fans want to be entertained, then I expect that club to go and buy quality players, not shit. This summer, it's for the first time in a long time, if not ever under this ownership, I've seen us buy more than 2 quality players that go into the first team, right? This is why, and the neglect we've had on the quality of player that is needed
I agree with you, Danny.
club,
I agree.
right?
I agree.
At this football club, we've needed to actually compete with the clubs that we want to compete with, even with the Newcastles. So I think we're behind them as well. If you look at the players that they're bringing in, right? If you look at their bench, in that game that we lost against them in the Carabao Cup, look at the bench they had and look at the bench we had on that game. It's night and day, night and day. And until we can get
Danny, we had loads of injuries.
I know, Lubo, but I'm saying we still need.
That's an unfair comparison.
But I know, but Lubo, but what I'm trying to say is that if you look at their first 11 and our first 11, how many players of their first 11 will get into ours?
Well, listen, the difference is, Danny, that they've got a better balance. They've got very good players across all the positions.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You know, you look at their wingers. They've got Ansley Gordon, Alanga, Murphy, Harvey Barnes. They got 4. We got 1.5.
Yeah.
You know, so you just look at that. They, look at their midfield. Joe Linton, Sonali, and Bruno, compared to ours. So midfield and up front.
Guys, no one's arguing we don't need better players. The argument is, can we play better football with the current players?
Still, when you look at,
I don't think we can.
Look at Newcastle's squad and our
we haven't tried.
Yeah, maybe we might be able to play a little bit more, and maybe that is on Frank, right? That's probably one of the things that he is too pragmatic, right? At times, yes, but I understand why he's being pragmatic, because as much as it's frustrating to watch, for me, what I see is a manager that doesn't trust his players fully. That's what I see.
He hasn't got the players.
That's what I see. And I don't blame him for playing this way. And that's why I'm saying you have to give him time, because until he can get out the shit.
Handbrake off a little bit, though.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, you gave
maybe a little bit. Yeah.
When we go down in games,
so then
we can come back in games because we let the handbrake off. I'm not saying go 100 miles an hour in first gear. I'm not saying like go put the floor down in a 20 mile an hour. I'm just saying like be a little bit considerate of the fact that in order to win a game, you have to score a couple of goals. In order to take risks, like getting draws doesn't help you. It doesn't help. I've said 1,000 times. You can go a season undefeated and get relegated. Conversely, you can win 13 and lose 25 games, and you'll still get more points than if you draw every game. I know it's an extreme example, but playing not to lose doesn't get you any titles. It doesn't get you in the top 5 eventually.
Of course, but also, Sean, there's an element of this same core players last season were losing week in, week out. So he's got to get that out of them, out of their heads.
Playing gung-ho football.
No one's saying. I know, but Sean, what if the manager believes that those players can't play more attacking without being more open, and then therefore they will concede more goals? Maybe that's why that's how I see it. That's exactly.
But when you're getting battered against Chelsea, the theory goes out the window. When you get battered by Bodo, by Monaco,
I agree. Those games were a disgrace. They were some of the worst performances I've seen in a long time.
That's the argument right there.
Yeah, but the problem is he still hasn't got his team he wants yet, right? And I get. No, I know, but I look. You're not listening again, right? I understand. I understand that performance was dog shit, right? And the players were not up for it. But there's got to be more than just Frank for the reason why
Danny
come out on that day against Chelsea and try and play for the badge.
Okay, let me ask you this: for the rest of the season, if we have an injury crisis throughout the season, because let's say we've just lost Mwani, so it's not 1 in, 1 out; it's just out. We're going to get more injuries. Let's say we end up on average having 10 injuries throughout the whole season. Are we just going to say, right, Frank, you've just got to play boring, pragmatic football for the whole season? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, but still,
I'm asking you a question.
Why?
I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
Is that what we're going to do then? That's
It
ridiculous.
looks like it.
That's unacceptable.
So
we're not going to go down.
You're willing to take the gamble, right?
We're not going down,
the
Danny.
more.
We're not going to get relegated, and we are not going to finish in the Champions League playing this way. It's unsustainably boring.
Yeah, I know it is.
Negative.
I know that.
Therefore, and January is not going to be the solve, right? People thinking that January the 1st going to come around and they're going to drop 200 million quid.
It's going to take
not going to happen. Hang on, Dan, let me finish. It's not going to go that way. You might get one player and you might get two. Dream world scenario. Okay, so you're not going to revolutionize the team in January. So to Stell's point, he has to learn to trust what he has. Otherwise, because we're sat in that zone of you're not going to get relegated and you're not going to win the league and you're not going to qualify for the Champions League playing this way, in my opinion, and you're not going to win a cup either, not going to win the Champions League. No. So what are we doing here? What are we doing? We're just going to sit there and play boring football and piss all the home fans off for the rest of the season, trying not to lose so we can finish 8th.
Maybe because that to him that might be an improvement on finishing 17th last year.
And he'll lose the fan base at home. They'll switch on him. But
then if he loses the fan base, we do what we always do, and we sack the manager all the time. That's so
throw a bit more caution to the wind if he wants to keep his job. Because you're right. But the owners care about results until the fans turn, and then the owners will use the manager. They'll throw him to the wolves because they want to use him as a shield. So the manager should be aware of that and say, do you know what? At some point, I need to let the handbrake off.
Do you know what, Sean? I've got to tell you, Sean, this Spurs managerial job is a poison chalice. The fans, I think most of the fan base and people won't like this. I think the way you look at the top managers that have taken years to sort out teams, get rid of the deadwood, bring in players that they want to buy. The players that managers want to buy aren't always available. Sometimes they've got to wait for them, right? They look at the style of play that they bring in, and sometimes the players don't suit their style of play, so they have to adjust slightly. But you know what? It's just pointless because this game is all about players, and we don't have enough good players. We have 5 or 6 very good players.
Yeah,
most of the top 7 or 8, 9 teams in our division have got a lot more than us.
Yeah.
They do.
And
what do when Lubo finishes his point, I do want to get Chris in just for a second because Chris hasn't said a word in about half an hour.
So bearing in mind the lack of top quality we've got in our team, we've got players who can't control the ball, players who can't make progressive passes. Right, we lose the ball. We are overachieving with goals scored on XG. We're overachieving because we've had a few blinding games from Vicario with the goals that we've conceded, and people are saying, "Oh, let's be more expansive. Let's just go for it. Let's be Bonnie Teresa rather than Mother Teresa." Well, you know what, guys. We've got 9 games left between now and January the 1st. And I suggest we buckle in because it's going to be up and down just for the next 2 months. That's all it is. Where are we now? November the 13th. We've got 7 weeks left till the transfer window opens. I think he has overachieved to get us 5th. With the playing staff we have, he has done absolutely fantastically to score 9. We've got 19 goals in 11 games. And Richarlison's got 4, and Johnson's got 3, and they are 2.
How if the players are shit? They're all just shit.
Hang on. We are a team of moments. We play in moments. That's what we do. We do enough in those moments to win games.
So the players are good in moments.
There are enough moments, and the defence does the rest. And that's basically what's been happening because we haven't played that well in too many games. So if you just look at the facts, we aren't playing great in many games. Vicario's had blinders in several games, right? Our passing is shit. Our control is shit. We're not controlling games because we don't have an 8. So what do people actually expect? You look at Newcastle with their midfield. Look at Villa with their midfield.
A team that isn't so defensive and
Look
plays
at
not to
Liverpool
lose
without-
every
They've
single
got
week.
better players still.
They've all got better players.
Sunderland.
Yeah, but
That
Sunderland are
won't
not going to
last. That
stay
won't
there.
That
Come
won't-
on,
They're now,
man.
Danny.
We're 11 games in.
Hang on, still. Like
You're the
Forest.
one telling me we're fifth and we're overachieving. Yet Sunderland, we
We
diminished them
are,
because
but,
they're above
but
us.
we're
We
still
are.
11
No,
games in. It's the
we
people
are.
that are overreacting, like yourselves, right?
Exactly.
Because you're not looking at we've played 11 games.
But
Because
you're not
played
looking at
11
Sunderland.
games.
You're not looking at Sunderland's players. You're telling me that our players can't
Because
be more
Sunderland
attacking.
don't have a European competition to manage.
as well,
No.
there's that as well, and they don't have
So,
the
so,
injuries.
so we can't attack because we have to play midweek.
Oh my God.
No,
I'm asking you a question because that's what I'm hearing.
Still, hang on,
A
Danny,
Sunderland.
Danny, let me
Go on,
answer. The players generally, overall, are not good enough. It's all about players. Every
So
team is-
Lubo, my question is: so Sunderland's players are better then because they
they
attack
won't
better,
last
so they're
there.
better.
Still, they won't last there. We won't last
No,
in
no.
fifth.
So
Sunderland won't last
you
in
can't
third.
guess. You can't guess. We're going by where we are now. Are you saying to me that Sunderland's players are better than Spurs then because they attack more than us and they do it better? So
I
are
can
their
only
players better than Tottenham?
I can only answer that after 38 games when they both.
Then
played
don't
every
pick up Frank after 10 then.
No one. I don't.
You
People
can't pick
that
up
say-
Frank after 10 games, but say to me, you can't tell me about other teams until after 38. That's not a fair way to do
I'm
it.
not saying. I haven't said we judge Frank after
Right
10.
now, Lubo, right now today, as it stands, do Sunderland have better players than Spurs today? Right now, as it stands.
I don't know. I haven't seen Sunderland this season. Maybe they have.
They don't have
No,
better
I'm
players.
telling you.
They're
So,
playing better.
Sunderland. Oh, sorry, go on, Chris.
I just got to. You can't say that have they definitively got better players. What you can say is after 11 games, their players have played better than ours. Whether that means they're better players or not, gets proven over a longer period of time.
That's why I'm asking you, Lubo, Chris. I'm asking Lubo, then what's the reason behind it?
But still, you give Sunderland the amount of injuries that we've had and get them playing twice every week. See where Sunderland are in the table.
Okay, so have Sunderland got a better squad than Spurs then?
I don't
Not
know.
the first team.
Probably
But they're
not.
focusing on the
Why
Premier
is
League
Sunderland doing
still.
better than us?
They've had
Why are
that-
they doing
they've
better then?
Still, they've had no injuries, so they haven't really had to use
They
this.
didn't even win the championship or come second. They qualified through the
matter.
playoffs.
Doesn't matter whether they win the championship or not. They're up.
Well, it
and-
does
and-
because it's a metric of how good they were in the league below.
It does- No, they bought 14 players since they got up, since they won promotion.
So the 14 players they signed are all
14
better
players,
than
yeah.
our current. So the 14 players they signed are better than our current squad players.
I don't know. Maybe not. You know, people were saying, "Oh, we've got a better squad than Forest last year." Well, we bloody well didn't because they finished 7th after being 3rd most of the season, and we finished 17th. So their squad last season played better than our squad.
Yeah, but I if you asked me last season who's got a better squad, I would have said to you, I think Forest have got a better squad. Sorry, starting 11. I would have said I think they've got a better starting 11. I would have answered that. So I'm asking you now. The reason Sunderland is above us is one of the 3 reasons. 1, they've got a better squad, better players. 2, their manager's getting a better tune out of them. Or 3, they play a type of football that gets better results.
There's context to all of it still. Again, you're not listening. Number 1, they don't have
Listen
a
to
European.
everything you've said. And none of you
you're not.
answer one question.
You're not.
Why
I'll
is
explain it to you.
Sunderland
I'll
playing
explain
better
it to you.
football than
Lubo
us?
has said it
Ask
so
one
clearly.
question.
It's unbelievable, right? They are not playing 2 games a week, right? They're not playing European competitions. They don't have to manage that. They don't have the same amount of injuries that we have, right? And we are 11 games in, so we cannot say that they have a better squad than us, like Chris said, until the end of the season when they've finished in their position. They're going to
By the same metric,
right?
you can't say Frank is doing
Yeah,
such
but
a great
right
job
now,
then.
still,
The season
they
hasn't
are
ended.
playing better football than most teams in the Premier League.
Why, Danny? Why?
They're
Because
not playing
they-
twice a week.
Oh my God, because they're playing
So
once a week.
the
now.
reason, okay, so
They're
guys,
once
that's
a
They've
week.
got more time on the training ground to practice.
okay. So there's the answer. The reason Sunderland play better
I just
football
said
than
it
Tottenham
before.
is because Tottenham have to play midweek, and that means we can't play good football.
It means
It's
we
not
don't have as
even
much
that
time on the training ground as they do.
Therefore, we can't play good football.
Yes,
So-
it's a part of it.
Okay, there's the answer.
It's many
Now I understand.
parts. There's
Now I
many
know why
parts
we don't
of
play
it.
good football. Okay.
He's had no time. He's had no time
Yeah,
on the
and that
training
as well.
ground with us. Frank's had no time to coach us.
We've got a brand new manager.
I get it. Even though and within 2 minutes, guys playing attacking football. I get it.
For 10 games. 10 games.
Still, he was the
10 games,
biggest
then it
choker
collapsed.
going.
But he got us playing attacking football. He got us playing attacking football. But Frank needs longer to get
For
it.
10 games still. For 10 games, yeah.
So yeah, but we're judging Frank after 10 games.
I'm not judging Frank after 10 games. You
You
are
said
judging
he-
Frank
he-
after 10 games.
You said to me he can't play attacking football because he hasn't had time after 10 games. But
No.
Ange
He
plays
hasn't got
attacking
the
football
players.
after one game.
He hasn't got enough
got the
quality to
players.
compete at the levels we need to compete at in all competitions.
No, we're talking about the style of play, Danny.
But he
It's
can't
exactly what I'm
change the
saying.
style of play. He hasn't
So
got the
really-
players to
The
change
style of play comes with better quality.
So how did Ange get a better style of play when he first started?
He
How did
didn't. We got worse and worse and worse after that Chelsea
No, when he
game.
started. No, sorry, when he started, we're talking about. When he started, the first 10 games, our
Because
football was
all
good.
our players were fit.
Let me hang on, Danny. I'll answer
Sorry,
that.
bro.
Because the players were fit.
No, I'm going to answer that still. Brentford first
Yeah.
game, we got absolutely fucking buried. We just about came away with a 2-2 draw. Second game, this is under Ange. Second game, we beat Man United 2-0. Rashford and Fernandes missed open goal headers from 5 yards in the first half. We could have been 2-0 down.
Monaco, Bodo, Bournemouth, Chelsea
Don't
missed
forget
about 20 chances.
They're not good enough. This is what I'm saying to you. Monaco, Bodo, they're not good enough. The players
therefore, Sunderland have got better players than us. If our players aren't good enough,
Maybe.
Sunderland have got better players.
Well, then are you saying that Sunderland have got better players than Liverpool?
No, I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking
No,
you.
but
I know what I think.
No.
I'm asking you. I think their manager's not scared to play.
Lubo's right. So on your argument, you're basically saying
No. I want to know what you think.
Liverpool, Villa.
I want to know what you
Newcastle,
think, and I want to know what you think, Luba. I want to know what you think because for me, I think Sunderland's manager isn't scared to be more attacking. That's my opinion.
okay, but has Sunderland got better players than Liverpool then? Because they're doing better than Liverpool in the league right now.
No, but Liverpool won the league last year. We know they're good. They're just having a shit patch. They've proven they're good.
But this is this season still.
Okay, but we know Liverpool's team is good. They proved it. They're having a shit patch. They've proven they're good. Last year we finished 17th. We haven't proven anything.
Can't you say Sunderland having a good patch?
Listen, man. I just feel whatever excuse is available, we jump on it. Just to not say that we can't be a bit more adventurous in our play. We're just stuck.
I personally think we can go a little bit more adventurous, but I think he's restricting it because of he doesn't trust the players. I've said it a million times. He don't trust those attackers. He just doesn't.
I think it's pretty simple, to be honest. I think to what you're saying, Snell, he can play more attacking. Ange came in and he prioritized that style of play and just trying to be attacking over everything else, over whether it was
too attacking.
Whether it was going to be good long term, what the results were, it was we are going to do this. Frank could do the same. I think he's chosen not to. Some of you guys want him to be more attacking, and it comes down simply to your assessment of the risk and reward, doesn't it? So Frank clearly is slightly more at the moment. His assessment is that if he does push it to be more attacking, that's going to compromise our results. So right now his focus is on let's not compromise those results. And maybe what we don't know is when we get some players back and better players in, will that change? I think me and Danny and Luba, we're very much hoping, assuming that it will change, but we don't know. And you guys could be proven right, and he could carry on playing that sort of defensive football even when we've got better players. And at that point, you'd have to say that is on Frank. But at the moment, we're not going to make that.
Completely spot on, Chris. I completely agree with you.
But I can say today we can play better than this with this current squad. I know we can.
We can, but you don't know that we'd get the same results.
Exactly. You don't know. So what if?
And Chris, and until he tries, we won't know.
Yeah, we won't know. But what if still every game we're drawing 2-2, 3-3, 4-4 on that because he started to go more attacking?
He hasn't done it, so I don't know. That's the point.
Yeah, but that's the point.
And Danny, what happens if we win every game? What happens if we win every game? We don't know. Guys, it's going to be going for 2.5 hours. It's a perfect time to wrap it up. Ulrika Johnson with the super sticker to finish us off. Pause. Appreciate you, Ulrika. I hope you are enjoying your Friday morning. It must be over there, mate. Thank you very much indeed for the super sticker. And thank you to everyone as well. I want to say a massive thank you to Chris for coming on, buddy, for bringing all the stats and the balance, the reasonable takes as always. Giving out a couple of cards as well.
You need the whistle, Chris.
Yeah, well, we'll get that next time. Lubo, massive shout out to you. Stelios, big up shout out to you. Danny Kiriakou, thank you for coming on. And of course, a massive shout out to Perchi as well, who stepped in. Next Thursday, we'll be on Monday, we'll be back with Johnny. And it was just the four of us, but next Thursday we'll be bringing in another fifth man. Toby Juan Kenobi-san has jumped on late. He says, oh my God, I'm late again. Love you all. Big up, fellas. You've missed an absolute chaos stream, I think is the only way to describe it. Lots of over-chatting, over-talking, arguing, and it's what we do on a Thursday night. This is international break after all. I'm not sure if we settled anything at all tonight. All we do know for sure is that Danny Kiriakou was well and truly mudded. As always, guys, we'll see you.
In your dreams.
I'll see you on Monday, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.